Chapter 79. 3 months later, I've finally broken through to rank 54 Soul King. Now, even if I don't enter Shura transformation, I shouldn't have to worry about those soul beasts that have just broken through to 10,000 years. After ending his cultivation, Wang Kai slowly opened his eyes and revealed a smile on his face. Combined with the 6th level of the mysterious heaven suppressing technique and his daily perseverance in killing, Wang Kai had finally successfully advanced from a rank 51 Soul King to a rank 54 Soul King. However, under Wang Kai's killing and harvesting, the number of 1,000-year and above soul beasts in the Azure Forest had decreased by at least 70%. Now, Wang Kai needed to spend more time than before to search for soul beasts, but the experience he gained was still decreasing. Because of this situation, Wang Kai planned to continue harvesting in the next area after cleaning up these 10,000-year soul beasts. In the process of hunting soul beasts for 3 months, Wang Kai accumulated about 4 million points. However, he spent 1 million points to increase the area of the small plain from 100 square meters to 200 square meters. At the same time, he also spent another 1 million points to double the soul power density of the small plain. At the same time, Wang Kai also plundered a large amount of heaven and earth treasures from the hunt. Now, Wang Kai's small plain already had a heaven tier 7th grade heaven and earth treasure, dozens of human tier 6th grade heaven and earth treasures, hundreds of 5th grade heaven and earth treasures, and hundreds of 4th grade heaven and earth treasures. As for those 3rd grade heaven and earth treasures and below, Wang Kai's collection was estimated to be no less than 10,000. In order to make good use of these heaven and earth treasures, Wang Kai also spent 500,000 points to buy the inheritance of the true alchemy enlightenment and began to practice alchemy. With Xiao Guang's help, although Wang Kai's time to practice alchemy was limited, Wang Kai had already successfully refined a human tier 4th grade pill. As for medicinal pills of human grade 5 and above, it wasn't that Wang Kai couldn't refine them. It was just that the raw materials needed to refine medicinal pills of human grade 5 and above were even rarer and more precious. Wang Kai did not intend to waste those precious 5th grade human tier spirit herbs before he reached perfection in his 4th grade alchemy mastery. Although the angel realm was rich in treasures, in the Dolua continent, where the density of soul power was far lower than in the angel realm, treasures of heaven and earth were rare. It was said that in the ancient Dolua continent, the concentration of soul power was several times higher than it is now. Therefore, the Dolua continent was rich in natural treasures, and the art of alchemy flourished because of this. However, as time passed, the concentration of soul power on the Dolua continent slowly decreased, and the number of heaven and earth treasures became fewer and fewer. Even the 5th grade and 6th grade spirit herbs were very rare treasures. Take the Tai cloudy heaven liquid that Wang Kai used for cultivation as an example. The main ingredient of this cultivation medicinal liquid was only a 4th grade human tier spirit herb. But even so, even in the martial spirit hall, only a direct disciple of a titled Dalai like Wang Kai was qualified to use it. According to the data given by Xiao Guang, in the ancient Da continent, as long as the core disciples of a family with a soul sage overseeing it, they would be able to get a supply of 4th grade human tier medicinal pills every month. This was enough to show the scarcity and preciousness of heaven and earth treasures on the Dolua continent. The reason for this was actually not complicated. According to Xiao Guang's speculation, only in places with a soul power concentration of 2 standard would it be possible to grow a human tier heaven and earth treasure. And once a heaven tier heaven and earth treasure was born, that area's soul power concentration could not be lower than 15 standard soul power concentration. In the current Dolua continent, the average soul power concentration had only reached half of the standard for human tier heaven and earth treasures to appear in large quantities. As for heaven and earth treasures, other than the ice-fire Yin-Yang well and the core region of the Great Stardew Forest, where else would there be such conditions? In short, Wang Kai could not waste these 5th grade human tier heaven and earth treasures at all. As for the heaven tier heaven and earth treasures guarded by the 10,000-year-soul beasts. They were treasures that Wang Kai had to fight for. A month later, after dozens of fierce battles, Wang Kai successfully killed 5 of the remaining 7 10,000-year-soul beasts and obtained 5 7th-grade heaven and earth treasures. As for the remaining 2 10,000-year-soul beasts, their cultivations were even stronger. After several battles, it was difficult for Wang Kai to defeat them. In order to kill them, entering the Shura state was undoubtedly a very foolish choice. Therefore, Wang Kai chose to leave the Azure Forest and rush to the Azure Sea. 3 months later, it's time to leave. Other than the slightly higher soul power concentration, there's nothing else in the Angel's secret realm that I'm reluctant to leave. After slaughtering most of the soul beasts, Wang Kai's cultivation speed was decreasing day by day. There is no point in staying in the Angel's secret realm now. However, my gains from entering the Angel's secret realm this time can be said to be quite bountiful. I shouldn't lack cultivation resources for a long time in the future. Wang Kai's face revealed a satisfied smile as he scanned the small plain filled with heaven and earth treasures. After 3 months of fighting, Wang Kai had obtained enough heaven and earth treasures from the other 4 regions of the secret realm. Although the total number of soul beasts in the other 4 regions couldn't be compared to the Azure Forest, and the number of heaven and earth treasures wasn't much, little drops made an ocean. The number of heaven and earth treasures in Wang Kai's small plain had nearly doubled. His cultivation had also broken through to become a rank 55 soul king in the slaughter, and the number of points he had reached 5 million. After 3 consecutive teleportations outside the safe zone, the 3 golden runes in Wang Kai's hand disappeared one after another. When he returned to the safe zone again, a golden light array had already appeared in the center of the safe zone. Near the array, golden light rose and separated the teleportation array from the outside world. Can I leave like this? Wang Kai's heart stirred as he stood in the center of the teleportation array. On the other side, Martial Soul Holy City, Sendoryu's residence. Yes, it's been a year and a half. That kid has finally come out of seclusion. That girl Wang Shui almost broke my ears with her nagging. It's just that I don't know how strong he has become. Sendoryu, who was cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes and disappeared from where he was standing. In less than a minute, Sendoryu's figure appeared in the Doluo Palace again. He knelt on one knee in front of the angel god statue and made the gesture of a 6-winged angel. In the next moment, a golden light suddenly emerged from Sendoryu's body, and the angel god statue in front of him also began to slowly glow. Immediately after, he took out the demigod rank angel sword from his soul tool and stabbed it into the ground under the angel god's feet. Following Sendoryu's sword, a flickering golden array appeared under the angel god's feet. On the other side, the teleportation array under Wang Kai's feet also began to glow slowly. After a few seconds, the teleportation array disappeared, and Wang Kai's figure also disappeared from the angel's secret realm. Chapter 80. Wang Kai's vision went dark, and everything around him fell silent. When light appeared in front of him again, he was already at the foot of the gigantic angel god statue in the Doluo Palace. In the blink of an eye, a year and a half had passed, and Wang Kai had finally returned to the Doluo continent. When he left, he was only 8 years old. Now he was only 9.5 years old. As soon as he set foot on the Doluo continent, Wang Kai immediately felt an indescribable, formless threat enveloping him. In his spiritual sense, he felt as if something was spying on him. This was the malice of the Doluo continent's heavenly Tao. After all, the angel realm was a meteorite that the angel god had used his great magic to guide. Although it was still attached to the Doluo continent, most of the malice in the secret realm had been isolated. Now that he was back on the Doluo continent, the malice surrounding Wang Kai had increased by several times. Greetings, Master. Wang Kai hurriedly bowed to the bearded elder in front of him. Disciple, not bad. I can feel that you've gained a lot in the angel realm this time. Although you haven't obtained a 5th soul ring, I can feel that your soul power has far surpassed that of an elementary soul king. As long as you obtain a soul ring, you can easily become a rank 54 or even a rank 55 soul king. Sendoryu nodded in satisfaction as he sensed the powerful soul power aura emanating from Wang Kai's body. Thank you, Master, for bestowing me with this opportunity. Wang Kai hurriedly replied, gratefully. Yes, you're only a step away from becoming a soul king now. Rest well for a few days and relax. After that, I'll bring you to hunt soul beasts and officially become a soul king. Also, after you left, Jianxue has been talking about you every day. My ears are about to be worn out. You have to accompany her properly. When you become a holy son in the future, you won't have as much time to accompany her. Sendoryu continued to instruct him. Understand, Master. I've been missing Jianxue a lot these days. I'll definitely accompany her properly. Wang Kai nodded seriously. Big brother Wang Kai, you're finally back. Jianxue missed you so much. When they arrived outside Chihiro Snow's boudoir, a maid went to report. Not long after, a sweet and graceful voice came from the courtyard. It was the Chihiro Snow that Wang Kai yearned for day and night. Seeing Wang Kai, Chihiro Snow immediately pounced on Wang Kai. She immediately used her hands and legs to wrap around Wang Kai's body like an octopus. She then brought her tender face close to Wang Kai's body and gently rubbed against it. Yes, I'm back. I've been thinking about Shui since I left her. Long time no see. Shui has become even more beautiful. Wang Kai gently hugged Chihiro Snow's snow-white waist with one hand and stroked Chihiro Snow's silky hair with the other. He licked his lips, and a doting smile appeared on his face. Wang Kai's words were naturally from his heart. After being alone with wild beasts for a year and a half, he had actually accumulated a lot of hostility in his heart. Now that he saw such a delicious girl like Chihiro Snow, Wang Kai's heart seemed to have been freed. His state of mind also became much calmer, and he felt as if he had suddenly become enlightened. After not seeing her for a year and a half, Chihiro Snow had grown a lot taller and had grown into a slender and elegant girl. Her soft golden hair hung down her delicate body, faintly revealing the girl's perfect curves. Wearing an elegant palace dress made of golden silk, Qian Rinchua's temperament was even more noble and elegant. Looking from afar, she had a kind of lofty and proud spirit like a fairy, with a sense of holiness that transcended the mortal world. Seeing such a beautiful girl sticking close to him and submitting herself wholeheartedly to him, Wang Kai couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and satisfaction in his heart. I become more beautiful? Are you speaking the truth, big brother Wang Kai? Under Wang Kai's gentle touch, Chihiro Snow's face revealed an expression of enjoyment. Hearing Wang Kai's praise, the girl suddenly opened her mouth. Her sweet voice made one's heart feel as if it was being cleansed. Of course, after not seeing you for a year and a half, Shui's body has developed really well. Also, Shui's aura has become much more noble all of a sudden. I feel like I have a desire to conquer you. Wang Kai explained honestly with a smile. Big brother Wang Kai wants to conquer Shui, is that right? Hearing Wang Kai's words, Chihiro Snow's eyes revealed a hint of desire. Looking up at Wang Kai, she stared straight at him with the small six-winged angel brand in her eyes. That's just a metaphor. Blushing slightly, Wang Kai didn't want to continue the topic. Hurriedly, he asked, right, after not seeing you for so long, Shui's cultivation, how's it going? Shui's cultivation? When big brother Wang Kai went to the angel realm to train, Wang Shui was also working hard on her cultivation. I'm already a rank 37 soul exalt. Not hearing Wang Kai's confirmation, Chihiro Snow's eyes flashed with disappointment. But soon after, she smiled and replied seriously. A rank 37 soul exalt? Looks like Shui didn't slack off when I left. Pinching Chihiro Snow's cheeks, Wang Kai smiled and nodded. Although a person with a god's martial soul had twice the innate soul force of a person with a full innate soul force, and their cultivation efficiency was much higher than that of a normal soul cultivator with a full innate soul force. But compared to a normal soul cultivator, they had to accumulate more soul force with every breakthrough. In terms of cultivation speed, a person with a god's martial soul wouldn't be much faster than a normal soul cultivator with a full innate soul force. Because of this, Chihiro Snow was only a soul exalt. But for her to be able to break through 7 ranks in a year and a half was already an extremely rare feat. Yes, but I know. But compared to Big Brother Wong Kai, my cultivation speed is far inferior. I heard grandfather say that if Big Brother Wong Kai comes back, you'll definitely be able to become a Soul King. Looks like Shui is still holding Big Brother Wong Kai back. Chihiro Snow pursed her lips. I've indeed reached the peak of a soul ancestor. After recuperating for today, I'll be able to obtain my 5th soul ring and become a Soul King. Wong Kai nodded and replied, but Shui, you don't have to belittle yourself. The angel's secret realm has a higher concentration of soul force, and there are many heavenly treasures. That's why I'm able to make such progress. Shui, you must have confidence in your cultivation speed. I understand. All right, Big Brother Wong Kai, I still have some problems with my cultivation. Can I ask you for advice? Chihiro Snow held Wong Kai's arm, her voice like the sound of nature reverberating in Wong Kai's ears. Of course, let's do it. After speaking, Wong Kai pulled Chihiro Snow's arm and walked towards the Green Xian Hall. Chapter 81. Brother Wong Kai, today, let's cultivate together. What do you think? Walking through the door of the secret underground cultivation room of the Green Xian Hall, Chihiro Snow's face was slightly red as she asked in a low voice. Pointing at the cauldron Wong Kai was cultivating in with one hand and gently holding Wong Kai's arm with the other. Shui, are you referring to us entering the same medicinal liquid to cultivate together? Wong Kai asked with some doubt. Yes, Chihiro Snow nodded slightly. Could it be that Brother Wong Kai is not willing? Could it be that Brother Wong Kai is beginning to dislike Shui? How could that be? If Shui is willing, then of course I have no problem. In the face of Chihiro Snow's invitation, which was so warm that it was almost begging, what reason did Wong Kai have to decline? Before going to the angel realm, although Wong Kai and Chihiro Snow had cultivated in the same room, they had cultivated in their own medicinal liquid after all. Although Chihiro Snow and Wong Kai could taste each other's bodies from time to time, they had never really cultivated together in the same medicinal liquid. Although he was not ready to truly possess Chihiro Snow, Wong Kai naturally did not reject the opportunity to have more intimate contact with her from the bottom of his heart. Thank you, Brother Wong Kai. Then I'll go down first. Seeing that Wong Kai had agreed to her request, Chihiro Snow's face revealed a blush of happiness as she replied with a sweet smile. Immediately, she took off her clothes, revealing her tender skin as a young girl, and stepped into the cauldron filled with orange Taishian heaven suppressing liquid. Yes, I'm coming too. Wong Kai nodded, took off his robe, and jumped into the cauldron with a plop like a dumpling. Thank you, Brother Wong Kai. Seeing Wong Kai enter the cauldron, Chihiro Snow once again revealed a blissful smile. Her melodious voice sounded beside Wong Kai's ears. What's there to thank? In my opinion, it should be me, Xie Shui. However, why did Shui suddenly make such a request today? Wong Kai asked curiously. Why would Shui make such a request? Maybe it's because Shui misses Big Brother Wong Kai too much? Chihiro Snow shook her head lightly and said in a low voice, Big Brother Wong Kai, you may not know this, but Shui really felt very, very empty without you by her side these days. It can be said that there wasn't a day that Shui didn't miss you. Big Brother Wong Kai. Do you know, unlike other children of the same age, Shui doesn't have a father, and my mother is high up and has never cared about me. Only Grandpa's company gives my life a glimmer of brilliance. However, as the great consecrator of the Martial Spirit Palace, he is also very busy and can't accompany me all the time. Big Brother Wong Kai, it's you. It's your arrival that made me truly feel the warmth of being cared for and cared for. So, I don't want to leave you, and I can't leave you. The girl's tone was slightly bitter at first, but soon became high-pitched. Wong Kai wanted to say something to comfort her, but at this moment, Chihiro Snow had already come over and firmly sealed his mouth. Shui, After a long while, Chihiro Snow slowly let go. Wong Kai held her hair as he called out with some pity. At this moment, Chihiro Snow's voice continued to ring out in the secret room. However, I also know that with my background, it's impossible for me to appear with Big Brother Wong Kai in the outside world. Otherwise, the other sex will definitely gossip. Moreover, after becoming a Soul King, I'm sure Big Brother Wong Kai will become the holy son of the Martial Spirit Palace, right? I heard from Grandpa that if Big Brother Wong Kai becomes the holy son of the Martial Spirit Palace, then it's very likely that you'll have to represent the Martial Spirit Palace to visit the various major powers on the continent. You won't be able to stay by Shui-Er's side all the time. Moreover, I also heard that once you become the holy son of the Martial Spirit Palace, Big Brother Wong Kai will have to take on the task of forming marriage alliances with the various major sects and kingdoms. When that time comes, I'm very worried that I won't be the only woman by Big Brother's side. Therefore, I hope that now, before Big Brother Wong Kai becomes the holy son, I can leave my mark in Big Brother Wong Kai's heart so that Big Brother Wong Kai will always remember me and be able to stay by my side all the time. As she spoke, Chihiro Snow came closer again. Even if Shui isn't the only one by my side, Shui will always occupy the most unique place in my heart. Shui, don't worry. No matter what difficulties and obstacles there are, I'll always be by Shui-Er's side and overcome them with Shui. Wong Kai promised solemnly as he reached out his hands and interlocked his fingers with Chihiro Snow's. Emptying the emotions in her heart, Qian Rinshu gently snuggled into Wong Kai's embrace as a faint smile appeared on her face. Although she couldn't possess Wong Kai forever, at least for now, Wong Kai only had her in his heart and body. Being so close to each other, they seemed to be able to hear each other's heartbeats and breaths. They gazed at each other affectionately, and their eyes were filled with joy. In this state, time seemed to be very slow. Wong Kai also didn't have the heart to interrupt Chihiro Snow. Just like this, the two stayed close to each other, quietly sticking to each other. All right, Big Brother Wong Kai, I feel much better. Now let's start cultivating. After an unknown period of time, Chihiro Snow finally gently extricated herself from Wong Kai's arms. The perplexity in her eyes also gradually faded away, and she regained her usual confident and graceful posture. It's good that Shui-Er feels better. Oh right, Shui-Er's Taishan heaven suppression technique must have reached the 4th level, right? I wonder what's wrong with Shui-Er now. Seeing that Chihiro Snow had finished venting her emotions, Wong Kai also secretly adjusted his emotions and asked. An hour later, understand. Thank you, Big Brother Wong Kai. Chihiro Snow was originally very intelligent, and with the experience of reaching the 6th level and Little Light's help, Wong Kai was able to explain the problems that Chihiro Snow encountered in her cultivation in simple terms. With Wong Kai's help, Chihiro Snow seemed to have a sudden epiphany and completely solved all the difficulties in her cultivation. It's my honor to be able to help Shui-Er. Then I'll also start cultivating. Wong Kai smiled slightly, and his eyes were captivated. Although there was a beauty by his side, Wong Kai almost immediately entered the most perfect state of cultivation. A soul force vortex formed in his heart, and then the soul force in the secret room continuously flowed towards him. As expected of the man that I, Chihiro Snow, have taken a fancy to. Looking at Wong Kai's focused expression, Chihiro Snow's eyes revealed incomparable admiration and adoration. Soon after, her expression slowly became firm, and then she closed her eyes to cultivate. In the future, there would definitely be many outstanding girls by her Big Brother Wong Kai's side. She definitely couldn't relax and definitely couldn't fall behind. This way, she would always be able to firmly grasp Wong Kai's heart. Thinking like this, Chihiro Snow quickly entered the state of cultivation. Chapter 82. Cultivating the Mysterious Heaven Suppressing Technique. Source Experience plus 150. 3 hours later, Wong Kai slowly opened his eyes. Hearing the system notification, his brows furrowed slightly. One cultivation can only provide me with 150 source experience? Xiao Guang, Help me analyze the effective soul power concentration during my cultivation. Wang Kai silently ordered in his heart. Although the soul power concentration in the secret cultivation room was indeed much lower than in the angel's secret realm, Wang Kai completely did not expect that the experience he obtained from cultivating the mysterious heaven-suppressing technique would be so little. Yes, master. After returning to the Dolawa continent, the intensity of the world hostility you received has greatly increased. Therefore, your cultivation speed will definitely be greatly affected compared to when you were in the angel's secret realm. According to the analysis, the soul power concentration in your cultivation environment is 485 standard concentration. Your effective soul power concentration during cultivation is 247 standard concentration, a decrease of 50% compared to last year. A few seconds later, Xiao Guang's cold mechanical voice sounded in Wang Kai's sea of consciousness. As expected, after returning to the Dolawa continent, the world's hostility has really affected my cultivation too much. It seems that I have to cultivate my soul power in a small plane in the future and continue to optimize the mysterious heaven-suppressing technique as soon as possible. Otherwise, at this speed, it will take me close to half a year to advance to the first rank as a Soul King. However, now that Shuer is pestering me to cultivate with her every day, I definitely won't be able to enter a small plane to cultivate. Xiao Guang, do you have any solutions to this problem? After listening to Xiao Guang's report, Wang Kai secretly thought for a while before continuing to ask in his heart. Master, regarding this situation, Xiao Guang suggests that you spend 1,000,000 points to exchange for a tool called the Elementary Substitute Puppet. The Substitute Puppet can completely imitate Master's appearance and aura. If a title Doa doesn't see you face-to-face or use their spiritual power to scan carefully, they won't be able to discover the difference between the Substitute Puppet. In addition, the Elementary Substitute Puppet's fighting strength is equivalent to an Elementary Soul King expert. It can be used as a pretty good guard, and can also be used to confuse the enemy during a chase. Of course, if you want to activate and control the puppet, you have to send a part of your soul into the puppet's control core. However, Master, your spiritual energy is still not strong enough. If you rashly split a strand of your soul, it may cause your cultivation aptitude and combat strength to drop. Therefore, Little Guang also suggests that Master exchange for or refine some spiritual force enhancing pills to increase your spiritual force before dividing it. Hearing Wang Kai's question, Little Light quickly gave an answer. So it's equivalent to an Elementary Soul King's substitute puppet? According to my current situation, I'll definitely have to enter and exit small planes frequently in the future. From the looks of it, purchasing an Elementary Substitute Puppet is indeed necessary. Wang Kai browsed the beginner puppet's information in the system shop. He pondered for a moment and made up his mind. Although 1,000,000 points were enough for Wang Kai to add a 100,000-year soul ring or raise the cultivation of a soul ring to a 100,000-year soul ring, buying a substitute puppet with a fighting strength only equivalent to a Soul King seemed to be a bit of a loss. However, whether it was for cultivation or alchemy in the future, Wang Kai would definitely have to enter small planes frequently. In order to not expose himself, spending 1,000,000 points to purchase an elementary substitute puppet was already a very worthwhile transaction. At this time, Wang Kai also began to rejoice. He didn't spend his points carelessly, but rather prudently kept the majority of his points. Sure enough, these points were now put to good use. After deciding on the idea of purchasing an elementary substitute puppet, Wang Kai continued to ask, then Little Guang, do you have any recommendations for me to purchase or refine? Yes, Master. The following are the pills that Little Guang has chosen after analyzing Master's current physical condition, spiritual energy strength, and financial situation. Please take a look, Master. Accompanied by Little Guang's voice, a transparent list suddenly appeared in Wang Kai's sea of consciousness. So expensive. Looking at the various pills listed by Little Guang, Wang Kai was slightly startled in his heart. Human Tier Rank 4 Soul Nurturing Pill, Human Tier Rank 5 Spirit Warming Pill, Human Tier Rank 6 Earth Soul Pill. The price of the dozens of pills on the list was close to 50,000 points, while the more expensive ones were all priced at over 1,000,000 points. Yes, master, the pills provided by the system are all of the most perfect quality. Not only are their effects the best, but they also leave almost no impurities in master's body or soul. Of course, if master feels that the pills sold by the system are too expensive, you can choose to refine your own pills. Hearing Wang Kai's complaints, Little Guang patiently explained. After listening to Little Guang's explanation, Wang Kai shook his head and immediately continued to instruct. Then show me all the pills that can strengthen spiritual energy that I can refine with my current heaven and earth treasures. After leaving the angel realm, it would not be easy to find such a good opportunity to kill soul beasts and plunder points and experience in a short period of time. Before his strength reached a certain level, Sendoryu would definitely not be at ease, letting him go out alone to hunt soul beasts. Therefore, apart from rewards of breaking through to Soul Emperor in the future and defeating Tang San, Wang Kai only had the 5,500,000 points that he had saved in the angel realm for the next 1.5 years. He could not waste any of them. Moreover, for these points, in order to have a better cultivation environment, Wang Kai would definitely need to spend 2,000,000 points to double the concentration of soul force in the small plane. In addition, he would also need to spend 1,000,000 points to buy a substitute puppet. Calculating like this, he would only have 2,500,000 points at his disposal in the future. Of course, Wang Kai would definitely not be willing to waste these points on pills that he could refine. Yes, master. The following are the pills that Little Guang can refine according to the heaven and earth treasures that master has, and the corresponding number of furnaces that master can refine. Hearing Wang Kai's command, Little Guang immediately responded. Immediately, the contents of the list in Wang Kai's sea of consciousness changed rapidly. I only have 3 choices now. Seeing that more than half of the items on the list had disappeared, Wang Kai's face revealed a wry smile. With the heaven and earth treasures that Wang Kai currently had, the pills that he could refine were only 5 furnaces of human tier rank 4 soul nurturing pills, 1 furnace of human tier rank 4 soul clearing pills, and 3 furnaces of human tier rank 5 soul strengthening pills. However, since I can refine them myself without spending points to buy pills from the system store, it's already very good. Then, let me start with the simplest soul nurturing pill. After making up his mind, Wang Kai nodded and made a plan. Chapter 83. Big Brother Wang Kai, you don't look too happy. What's wrong? At this time, Chihiro Snow, who had already finished her cultivation, quickly came over with a worried look on her face. She asked softly, "Nothing's wrong. I just came back from the angel realm and found that my cultivation speed is a little slow. I'm just not used to it." Wang Kai smiled faintly and said gently as he stroked Chihiro Snow's forehead, "So that's the case." Rin Shue is relieved. Hearing Wang Kai's answer, the worried look on Chihiro Snow's face faded. Actually, sometimes Wang Shue hopes that Big Brother Wang Kai can slow down your cultivation. Every time I see Big Brother Wang Kai cultivating and training hard day and night, Wang Shue feels very, very sad. I'm fine. Shue, you don't have to worry about me. Wang Kai shook his head coolly. By the way, it's rare that I have some free time to accompany Shue. Shue, do you have any other places you want to go? Let's go together. Places you want to go? Chihiro Snow blinked. The 6-winged angel brand in her eyes flashed slightly, making her look especially cute. The last time we went out, it was all Wang Shue's decision. This time, Big Brother Wang Kai will decide where we go. Actually, only Wang Shue can stay by Big Brother Wang Kai's side. No matter where, Wang Shue will be the happiest. Hey, it's up to me. Wang Kai thought for a while. That's good too. However, it's a little late today. Come back tomorrow morning and we'll set off together then. Evening, cultivation secret room. After enjoying a sumptuous and delicious dinner, Wang Kai came to the cultivation secret room alone. He locked the door and moved his mind. In the next moment, Wang Kai's body suddenly disappeared from the cultivation secret room and appeared in a small plane. Wow, it feels so good to be free from the malice of the world. As soon as he stepped into the demi-plane, Wang Kai felt that the huge and glorious hostility that shrouded him completely dissipated, and what replaced it was the absolute affinity of the surrounding environment towards him. Yes, although Wang Kai only had an area of 200 square meters and a volume of 1,000 cubic meters, he was the absolute master of this small plane. His was the only ruler of this small plane. With a single thought, Wang Kai could even directly influence the direction of soul power in the entire plane. In such an environment, he naturally felt incomparably comfortable, relaxed, and delighted. All right, let's buy a beginner-ranked substitute puppet first. After relaxing for a moment, Wang Kai had a thought, and his consciousness sank into the system store. Purchasing a beginner-ranked puppet will cost 1 million points. You currently have 5,505,540 points. Do you wish to purchase it? Of course. Following Wang Kai's words, 1 million points were instantly deducted from Wang Kai's account. After that, a humanoid puppet that looked almost exactly like Wang Kai appeared in front of Wang Kai. This is too amazing. Walking up to the puppet that looked exactly like him, Wang Kai lightly pinched the puppet's arm and couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Not only did it look similar, the body of the substitute puppet felt no different from a real person's. It seemed that if it had only been a normal cultivation, the mere soul exalt Chihiro Snow wouldn't have been able to discover this secret. However, there were two major differences between this puppet and Wang Kai. First, it was still cold and lifeless. Other than that, its aura was a little stiff, completely different from Wang Kai. However, this was a very normal situation. Only after Wang Kai inserted a strand of his soul into the puppet's control core would it be able to be activated. When that happened, it would be able to completely imitate Wang Kai's aura and be able to be controlled by Wang Kai's will. Right now, what Wang Kai needed to do was refine the pills he needed to raise his mental strength. He needed to raise his mental strength to the level where he could create a sliver of his soul as soon as possible. That way, he would be able to completely control the puppet, and his path of cultivation would become extremely smooth once again. Aside from the fact that he could cultivate in a small plane with ease, Wang Kai was also pleasantly surprised to discover that he had another plan that he could carry out after obtaining this elementary puppet, and that was to fight for the huge opportunity in the Ice Fire Yin-Yang Well. According to what Wang Kai knew, Tang San, who was the leader of Shrek's 7 monsters, had obtained many immortal treasures from this place. This had improved the aptitudes of both himself and Shrek's 7 monsters, and had also laid down a foundation for them to become gods in the future. Although it was very difficult to say exactly how strong these immortal treasures were, even if they weren't able to become sentient enough to transform into humans, they would at least be peerless treasures at the 9th or even half a step into the divine rank. Previously, after learning that the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament was going to be held in 2 years, Wang Kai had already figured out the current timeline. He was about 2 years younger than Tang San. P.S. Here's an explanation. This book only changed Chihiro Snow's age because the author really likes this character and also wants a main character to have a little fangirl by his side. The author has read the original novel, so please don't criticize him. Wang Kai was now 9.5 years old. According to his memories, Tang San would obtain the opportunity to enter the Ice Fire Yin-Yang Well when he was around 12 years old. He had originally thought that he wouldn't be able to obtain this huge opportunity, but after obtaining this substitute puppet, Wang Kai was pleasantly surprised to discover that he had a very good chance of competing with Tang San for this opportunity. Martial Soul Holy City was located in the center of the Dolua continent, and it was only a few thousand kilometers away from the Heaven Do Empire's setting sun forest. According to Wang Kai's speed, if he went all out, he could reach a speed of 100 meters per second. Even if he had to slow down because of the long journey, he could still reach a speed of over 200 kilometers per hour. Wang Kai had the power of the earth to replenish his strength at any time, so he could maintain his fastest speed for 24 hours a day. This also meant that he only needed 1.5 days to complete the round trip from Martial Soul Holy City to the setting sun forest. In other words, as long as he had a week or so of free time, he would have the opportunity to snatch this opportunity from Tang San's hands. He could even use the blazing delicate apricot and the star anise mysterious ice grass to cripple Dugabo's cultivation and get rid of a huge helper by Tang San's side in advance. As he thought about this, Wang Kai's eyes gradually revealed a look of excitement. Of course, all of this was built on the premise that he could control the substitute puppet as soon as possible. And for this, he had to concoct pills that could increase his spiritual power and soul power as soon as possible. Without further ado, Wang Kai started to pick out the natural treasures from the small plain. Chapter 84. Human Tier Grade 4 Soul Nurturing Grass, Human Tier Grade 3 Moonflower, Human Tier Grade 3 Green Jade Lotus. Dozens of medicinal ingredients were carefully selected by Wang Kai from the mountain of natural treasures. Soon after, they were gently placed on an exquisite circular jade plate. Let's begin. Chaotic Mountain and River Cauldron out. With a thought from Wang Kai, purple soul power gathered in front of him. In the next moment, the ancient chaotic mountain and river cauldron appeared in front of him. Immediately, his soul power surged, and the fourth red soul ring behind him lit up. 3,000 heaven-burning flames. A wisp of purplish-black flame with a strange luster appeared on the tip of Wang Kai's right middle finger. With a gentle wave of his hand, the 3,000 heaven-burning flames entered the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. Pill furnaces and pill fires were undoubtedly the most important hardware for an alchemist. If an alchemist wanted to refine top-grade pills, he had to have the help of a top-grade pill furnace and a top-grade pill fire. For Wang Kai, his chaotic mountain and river cauldron was a divine artifact made from a trace of primordial energy born in the universe and combined with 99 types of rare divine treasures. Naturally, it could be used as the perfect pill furnace. In addition, the 3,000 heaven-burning flames he used to refine pills were also the rare flames of heaven and earth that countless alchemists dreamed of. With the two together, Wang Kai was undoubtedly like a tiger that had grown wings when refining pills, as if he had the help of a god. Feeling that the chaotic mountain and river cauldron had reached the perfect temperature, Wang Kai waved his right arm and sent a streak of soul power towards the jade plate. In the next moment, a stalk of soul-nurturing grass was wrapped by Wang Kai's soul power and flew up from the jade plate, immediately arriving above the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. Soul-nurturing grass was a strange herb that grew in places with extreme heat and humidity. It was incomparably precious. For soul-nurturing grass, just by smelling its fragrance, it had a miraculous effect of refreshing the mind. If one could consume the entire stalk, it could even increase a soul master's spiritual power. It was also the main ingredient for refining soul-nurturing pills. On the Dolua continent, soul-nurturing herbs were almost extinct. Even in the angel realm, where the concentration of soul power was far higher than on the Dolua continent, Wang Kai only managed to find 5 stalks of soul-nurturing herbs, which were enough for him to refine 5 cauldrons of soul-nurturing pills. As soon as the soul-nurturing grass approached the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, it began to melt gradually. Under the control of Wang Kai's spiritual power, in less than a minute, the soul-nurturing grass was calcined into a ball of dark green, medicinal liquid the size of half a fist. It slowly rolled in the flames, constantly bubbling and reflecting a faint luster. This was the first step of refining medicinal pills, refining and purifying the medicinal ingredients. However, Wang Kai had only completed half of the first step, refining. If he wanted to refine a truly high-quality medicinal pill, he had to refine the heavenly and earthly treasures that had been refined, removing the impurities that were harmful to the human body. Generally speaking, the greater the purification, the fewer impurities the final medicinal pill would have, and the better the medicinal effect after consumption. Wang Kai was fully focused on controlling the temperature of the flames in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. At this critical moment of refining the medicinal liquid, the temperature of the flames could not be wrong. Otherwise, the medicinal effect would be lost, and if it was serious, the precious medicinal liquid might be completely burned. After a few more minutes, some black impurities suddenly appeared in the dark green liquid refined from the soul-nurturing grass. Looking at these impurities, Wang Kai nodded slightly. With a light tap of his finger, the impurities in the medicinal liquid began to gather under the control of his spiritual power and were separated from the medicinal liquid. After removing the impurities, the remaining medicinal liquid appeared even more pure and beautiful. It's about time. After a few more minutes, after observing that there were no more black impurities in the medicinal liquid, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. At this time, the dark green medicinal liquid that was originally the size of half a fist had been purified to the size of a ping-pong ball, but its color had become deeper and more breathtaking. Next, after refining the soul-nurturing grass, Wang Kai tapped his finger lightly, and the medicinal liquid formed from the soul-nurturing grass floated above the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. Then, with a thought, 4 strands of soul power took the 4 medicinal ingredients onto the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. After becoming a soul king, Wang Kai's spiritual power had already reached the realm of doing 5 things at once. Therefore, when refining pills, other than having to split a strand of his consciousness to control the 3,000 heaven-burning flames, his remaining 4 strands of consciousness could actually refine the 4 medicinal ingredients at the same time. However, Wang Kai only had a total of 5 soul-nurturing grass, and the difficulty of refining the soul-nurturing grass was relatively high. He could not be careless at all. Therefore, he focused on refining the soul-nurturing grass just now. But now, Wang Kai had a plentiful amount of the other heavenly treasures needed for the soul-nourishing pill, and it wasn't difficult to process them. In order to save time, Wang Kai naturally chose to process these heavenly treasures in parallel. Moonflower, green jade lotus, purple feather ganoderma. Dozens of medicinal ingredients were melted by the 3,000 heaven-burning flames in front of Wang Kai, forming dozens of medicinal liquid balls of different colors and sizes that floated in the air. They were multicolored and looked extremely beautiful. Then it's time to start the second step, mixing the medicinal liquid. Looking at the medicinal ingredients that had already been refined and purified, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. Then, with a slight movement of his soul power, the dark green medicinal liquid formed from the soul-nurturing grass floated to the center of the cauldron. The medicinal liquid formed after mixing the medicinal ingredients to form the medicinal liquid was the second step of refining pills, and also the most crucial step. After successfully refining and purifying the natural treasure into medicinal liquid, the alchemist still had to mix the appropriate amount of medicinal liquid with each other under the right temperature and perfect timing. Only in this way could the embryonic form of the medicinal pill be obtained, the medicinal liquid. Compared to the first step, the second step of refining pills was undoubtedly more difficult. This was because it required the alchemist to have a strong spiritual force and a long period of practice. Only then would they be able to find the perfect time to mix the medicinal liquid. Therefore, according to the description in the introduction to the Tao of Alchemy, the majority of alchemy apprentices only needed 1 or 2 years to grasp the method of refining medicinal ingredients. However, if they wanted to master the technique of mixing medicinal liquid, they might need several years or even 10 years of immersion. Compared to the average alchemist, Wang Kai naturally didn't have that much time to practice. However, he had already exchanged for the introduction to the Tao of Alchemy and the true explanation of alchemy, 2 inheritances, and had a very deep theoretical understanding of alchemy. Apart from this, he also had the assistance of a cheat, Shaoguang. To the average alchemist, their alchemy relied more on the experience gained through long periods of practice. Even alchemy grandmasters were no exception. However, Shaoguang could quantify the time and amount of medicinal liquid to mix, truly finding the most perfect timing and proportion. Shaoguang, activate the alchemy support mode. Wang Kai silently commanded in his heart. Shortly after, his soul power moved, and the dark green medicinal liquid formed from the green jade lotus slowly approached the dark green medicinal liquid formed from the soul nurturing grass. Chapter 85. A few seconds later, he heard little lights prompt in his sea of consciousness. Wang Kai moved his soul power, and a large portion of the green medicinal liquid formed by the green jade lotus was separated. Soon after, it merged with the dark green medicinal liquid formed by the soul-nurturing grass in the air. Green jade lotus, snake saliva fruit, moonflower. Under Wang Kai's control, the purified medicinal liquid was separated from each other and continuously merged with the dark green medicinal liquid formed by the soul-nurturing grass in front of Wang Kai. As more and more medicinal liquids fused into it, the volume of the liquid in front of Wang Kai, which was a mixture of all kinds of medicinal liquids, continued to expand. Its color also gradually changed from dark green to dark green, transforming into a pill liquid. After the medicinal liquid was mixed, Wang Kai continued to urge the 3,000 heaven-burning flames to refine the dark green medicinal liquid in front of him. After a long period of calcination by the 3,000 heaven-burning flames, the medicinal liquid in front of Wang Kai also began to slowly shrink. At the same time, a little bit of black impurities once again appeared in the pill elixir. Although Wang Kai had already removed almost all of the impurities from the medicinal herbs when he was refining them, when these medicinal liquids fused together to form the pill elixir, a mysterious reaction occurred between them, once again producing some other toxins. At the same time, a lot of hidden impurities were forced out. And in the second step of refining pills, refining the pill elixir once again and removing those newly formed impurities was also a very important task. After about 10 minutes, the volume of the pill elixir in front of Wang Kai had already shrunk by nearly half. At this time, there were no more impurities emerging from the pill elixir. Looking at the finished mixing and flickering with a mysterious and beautiful luster, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. At this step of refining pills, success or failure was already determined by 70%. As long as the quality of the pill elixir reached the standard, unless an extremely serious mistake occurred, the success rate of refining pills would almost reach 90%. However, this didn't mean that the next 3 steps of refining pills, condensing the pill, nourishing the embryonic pill, and forming the pill were worthless. On the contrary, if an alchemist wanted to fully display the effects of the pill elixir and refine the most perfect pill, the last 3 steps were equally important. Looking at the pill elixir floating in the air, Wang Kai sat cross-legged, held his breath, and concentrated all of his spiritual power on the pill elixir in front of him. At the same time, Wang Kai's soul power once again rushed into the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. Under the infusion of Wang Kai's soul force, the 3,000 burning heavens flames in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron burned vigorously. Purplish-black flames emerged from the mouth of the cauldron and almost touched the pill liquid floating in the air. At the same time, Wang of the heaven-burning flames, of course of the heavens, the heavens of heaven of fire cauldron pill was of the heavens of flames of the Hevoth, the heavens of the cauldron. With the passage of time, the pill elixir in the air began to make strange sounds in the purple-black flames. Along with the strange sounds, a faint green gas was emitted from the pill elixir. After about 5 minutes, the pill elixir in front of Wang Kai had shrunk by more than half and returned to the size of a ping-pong ball. At this time, Wang Kai's hand formed a pill seal again. A wave of soul power rushed into the pill elixir and divided the pill elixir into 9 equal portions in the air. Condense. Immediately, Wang Kai's spiritual power was also released crazily, completely wrapping the 9 portions of pill elixir. Under the burning of the 3,000 heaven-burning flames, the pill elixir was compressed and purified. Another few minutes passed. At this time, Wang Kai's face was slightly red. But at this time, the 9 portions of pill elixir in front of him had disappeared. Instead, there were 9 pearl-sized, beautiful but slightly bumpy green embryonic pills. Not bad. Feeling the exuberant medicinal power in the 9 embryonic pills, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. His pill refining this time could be said to be very successful. The next moment, he waved his right hand gently again, and the 3,000 heaven-burning flames in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron calmed down again. After a while, when the temperature in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron dropped to a suitable temperature, Wang Kai's finger tapped lightly, and the 9 embryonic pills entered the chaotic mountain and river cauldron one after another. After condensing the pill, the next step Wang Kai had to do was to nourish the embryonic pills. If he wanted to get the most perfect pill, this was also an essential step, because after nourishing, the medicinal power of the embryonic pills would become more vigorous, and the corresponding quality would also become better. Of course, generally speaking, the embryonic pills couldn't directly absorb the soul power and spiritual power of heaven and earth or the human body. Therefore, nourishing the embryonic pills wasn't as simple as injecting soul power or spiritual power into the pill furnace. Instead, it required the alchemist to catalyze, fuse, and transform the soul power and spiritual power through alchemy techniques. These two types of energy were transformed into pill chi that the embryonic pills could absorb and then use to nourish the embryonic pills. Wang Kai's hand seals changed again, forming the shape of a small oval pill furnace. At the same time, Wang Kai's soul power and spiritual power were constantly injected and fused in the center of the small pill furnace in his hand. Wisps of dense white gas were produced from the center of Wang Kai's hands, and under the control of Wang Kai's spiritual power, they constantly surged into the pill furnace. When this white energy entered the broken mountain and river cauldron, the 9 embryonic pills in the cauldron began to absorb the pill chi that Wang Kai injected and sublimated and nourished them. Half an hour later, the rudimentary pill that was originally a little bumpy had become round and smooth. A faint aquamarine luster had also appeared on its surface, making it look exceptionally beautiful and moving. It's about time. The pills can be formed. Sensing the state of the 9 embryonic pills in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, Wang Kai's face revealed a satisfied smile. His pill refinement was very successful this time. He could feel that the 9 embryonic pills had perfectly formed pills, and there wasn't even a single useless pill. Now it was time to harvest and form the pills. Compared to the first 4 steps, forming the pills was the easiest step, but there was a certain level of care. First, he had to control the timing of forming the pills, which was when to extinguish the pill fire. This would affect the effectiveness of the pills by about 1%. Second, after forming the pills, he had to put them into a jade bottle as soon as possible. Otherwise, the medicinal power of the pills would slowly begin to dissipate. After another 3 minutes, sensing that the pills in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron had entered the most perfect state, Wang Kai suddenly slapped the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. The 3,000 heaven-burning flames suddenly extinguished, and 9 jade-green pills the size of pearls flew out of the pill furnace. Wang Kai suddenly picked up a jade bottle on the stage beside him, and with a shake of the air, the 9 soul-nurturing pills all entered the jade bottle. Then, Wang Kai took out a jade stopper and fiercely sealed the jade bottle. Phew, I finally succeeded. Looking at the 9 soul-nurturing pills in the jade bottle in his hand, Wang Kai's eyes revealed a satisfied smile. With the help of these pills, he could condense a soul fragment faster and control a substitute puppet. Chapter 87. 80%, 80%, 90%. Very good. The 9 soul-nurturing pills I refined this time are actually all at the advanced level, and 2 of them are even at the superior level. Sensing the medicinal effects of the 9 soul-nurturing pills in the jade bottle, Wang Kai's face revealed a satisfied smile. For a finished pill, other than its grade from the 1st to the 10th grade, it could also be divided into 6 grades according to the amount of medicinal strength it contained. Generally speaking, if a pill's medicinal strength was less than 30%, then it would contain too many impurities. After consuming it, not only would it not be of much benefit to the Soul Master, but it would also bring a large amount of impurities into the Soul Master's body, causing more harm than good to the Soul Master's development. Therefore, this type of pill was also known as a waste pill. Correspondingly, if a pill's medicinal strength reached 30%, then this pill's medicinal strength would be at the elementary level, 50% would be at the intermediate level, 70% would be at the advanced level, and 90% would be at the superior level. Of course, above the superior level, there were perfect level pills. If a pill's medicinal strength could reach above 99%, then this kind of pill, with practically no impurities, could be called perfect level. The actual medicinal strength of a perfect level pill generally wouldn't lose to an elementary level pill that was one level higher than it. After refining this batch of pills, Wang Kai began to silently absorb the power of the earth, restoring his entire body's soul power and spiritual power. 10 minutes later, Wang Kai's spiritual power was completely restored. Shortly after, he took out another set of medicinal ingredients and ignited his pill fire to refine. 5 hours later, the remaining 4 sets of soul-nurturing pills' medicinal ingredients had been refined into 4936 pills. Looking at the 45 soul-nurturing pills in his hand, Wang Kai's eyes revealed a trace of joy. 11 superior-level pills, 33 advanced-level pills, and 1 intermediate-level pill. With the help of these pills, Wang Kai's spiritual power would definitely increase by a large amount. However, according to Xiao Guang's estimation, if Wang Kai wanted to split a wisp of his soul to control the primary puppet, he would have to increase his mental strength from the realm of multitasking, 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 from the realm of multitasking. However, after 5 intense pill refinement processes, Wang Kai's mental strength was still abundant with the constant replenishment of Earth Force, but he was still extremely exhausted. If he continued refining pills, both the success rate and the quality of the pills would definitely decrease. As a result, Wang Kai was not prepared to continue refining pills. Carefully taking out a jade bottle, Wang Kai pulled out the cork excitedly, then put the bottle under his nose and sniffed. Suddenly, a strange fragrance was emitted from the mouth of the bottle. It passed through Wang Kai's nostrils and entered his sea of consciousness. Soon after, it turned into a cool and refreshing air, causing Wang Kai to feel refreshed. This is really good stuff. Looking at the soul-nurturing pills in the jade bottle, Wang Kai nodded his head in satisfaction. Even if it was just a normal soul-nurturing grass, it could significantly increase a soul master's soul force. After refining the soul-nurturing grass into a soul-nurturing pill, not only did Wang Kai get rid of the extreme yin qi in the soul-nurturing grass, but also made it more friendly to a soul master's body and easier to absorb. At the same time, it also increased a soul master's spiritual power by a lot. A strand of soul force gently picked up one of the soul-nurturing pills. Wang Kai licked his lips and directly swallowed the pearl-like dark green pill into his stomach. Soon after, he quickly closed the jade bottle. Once the soul-nurturing pill entered his mouth, a faint, cool, and refreshing feeling quickly spread in Wang Kai's mouth. Soon after, it moved down his throat to his abdomen. After a moment, an extremely cold and pure energy spread out from Wang Kai's stomach. It continuously surged into Wang Kai's sea of consciousness and turned into streaks of dark green medicinal energy in Wang Kai's sea of consciousness. With a calm expression, Wang Kai sat down cross-legged and held his breath. His breathing quickly evened out. Strands of spiritual power moved according to his will and quickly wrapped around the streaks of pure medicinal energy that were surging into his sea of consciousness. Then, he began to frantically refine them. Following Wang Kai's refinement, the dark green energy was continuously assimilated into formless spiritual power. As the strands of energy were continuously refined, Wang Kai's spiritual power also increased bit by bit. Although the pure medicinal energy in Wang Kai's sea of consciousness was continuously being refined, it seemed to be endless. Every time Wang Kai's spiritual power refined a strand of green energy, an even larger strand of energy would surge over to make up for it. After tens of minutes, the medicinal energy in Wang Kai's sea of consciousness was finally completely digested. Feeling the explosive increase in his spiritual power, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth couldn't help but curl into a smile. After refining this soul-nurturing pill, Wang Kai's spiritual power increased by a large amount. The amount of spiritual power that he lacked to multitask was more or less filled by nearly 10%. This was the benefit of the soul-nurturing pill. If he wanted to rely on normal cultivation to achieve the same effect, Wang Kai would have to spend a month or even more of hard work. The first time he consumed a soul-nurturing pill could indeed increase Wang Kai's spiritual power by 10%. However, this didn't mean that Wang Kai would be able to successfully break through to multitask after consuming 10 soul-nurturing pills. When a soul master continuously consumed a soul-nurturing pill, his body would develop a resistance to the soul-nurturing pill. If the effect of a soul-nurturing pill was 100% for the first time, then the effect of the second time would be 90%. After that, it would be 80%, 70%, or even lower. The effect is really not bad. After resting for about 5 minutes to adapt to the explosive increase in his spiritual power, Wang Kai took out another soul-nurturing pill from the jade bottle and swallowed it to refine. 1 pill, 2 pills. After a sleepless night, Wang Kai refined a total of 30 soul-nurturing pills. His spiritual power required to multitask had increased by about 60%, reaching 90%. He only needed to increase the last 10% to successfully advance to the realm of multitask. However, if Wang Kai were to refine another soul-nurturing pill, he would only be able to increase the amount of spiritual energy he needed to multitask by 1%, and this effect would continue to decrease. If he wanted to quickly break through to multitask, Wang Kai had to refine the other 2 soul-nurturing pills, the spirit-cleansing pill and the soul-strengthening pill. After refining 30 soul-nurturing pills, it was already close to 4 in the morning. Wang Kai still had to go out to play with Chihiro Snow tomorrow. Thus, he carefully put away the remaining soul-nurturing pills and immediately left the small plane, returning to the secret cultivation room. There was still some time before the appointed time with Chihiro Snow. Wang Kai lay on the bed, spread out his hands, and fell asleep. Although his spiritual power had skyrocketed, after a night of continuous refining and refining, Wang Kai was still a little tired. The current him really needed a good rest. Chapter 88. Big Brother Wang Kai. While he was half asleep, Wang Kai suddenly heard a clear female voice calling his name. "Oh, Shui, you're here." Shaking his head to dispel the tiredness, Wang Kai gently pushed the quilt away and stood up. Big Brother Wang Kai, you promised to accompany Shui today. Let's go together," Chihiro Snow said as she put her forehead in front of Wang Kai. "Oh, how could I forget about this? After breakfast, let's go." Wang Kai reached out and rubbed Chihiro Snow's forehead back and forth a few times, then pulled up Chihiro Snow's slender jade arm. "Big Brother Wang Kai, are you just going to touch my head?" Chihiro Snow raised her head with a trace of disappointment in her eyes. "I understand." Wang Kai smiled and lowered his head slightly, kissing Chihiro Snow's forehead gently. Chihiro Snow's mouth curved into a sweet smile. "Big Brother Wang Kai, then tell me, where are you taking me today?" After breakfast, Qian Rinxue, who was sitting at the side, could not wait to shake Wang Kai's arm and ask. Holding Chihiro Snow's hand, Wang Kai asked softly, "Today, how about we go to the flower market in Martial Spirit Saint City?" "Flower market?" "Of course, Shui has no problem with that." Chihiro Snow nodded. "Actually, as long as Big Brother Wang Kai is with me, Shui won't mind going anywhere." "That's good, let's go." Hand in hand with Chihiro Snow, the two left Profound Azure Mansion and walked towards the flower market in the outer city of Martial Spirit Saint City. Most of the residents of Martial Soul Saint City were soul cultivators or their family members, but just like the commoners, many soul cultivators loved flowers. Moreover, soul masters often had more money than ordinary people to buy these ornaments. Therefore, the flower market in Martial Spirit Saint City was quite developed. Flowers, beautiful flowers, blooming like a sea of flowers. Looking at the colorful sea of flowers swaying back and forth in the air, Chihiro Snow's eyes became slightly blurred. After a while, she sighed. This place is really beautiful. Thank you for bringing me here, Big Brother Wong Kai. Compared to these flowers, Schwerer is so much prettier. Wong Kai praised from the bottom of his heart as he gently rubbed the tip of Qian Rinchue's nose. Today, going out with Wong Kai, Chihiro Snow didn't wear a palace dress or gauze dress like she usually did in the core of Martial Spirit Saint City. Instead, she wore plain clothes without any extra decorations. However, such attire could not hide Qian Rinchue's peerlessly beautiful face. Regardless of whether one looked at her from afar or up close, Qian Rinchue was like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. She was noble, elegant, and extraordinary. Everyone who looked at her could not help but have a good impression of her. The so-called beauty that could cause the downfall of a city was nothing more than this. Big Brother Wong Kai really knows how to praise people. After hearing Wong Kai's words, Chihiro Snow's hand that was holding Wong Kai's hand tightened a little. There was a hint of joy in her voice. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. Jinchue is so cute. Wong Kai didn't hesitate to praise Chihiro Snow as he played with her hair. Okay, let's go together. If Schwerer takes a fancy to any flowers, feel free to tell me. Wong Kai spoke again after a short while. Okay. Chihiro Snow nodded and smiled sweetly. She held Wong Kai's hand and walked in the sea of flowers. Okay, Big Brother Wong Kai, where are you going to take me next? It was more than an hour later when they left the sea of flowers again. At this time, there were several beautiful flowers in Chihiro Snow's hand. Next, I think after walking for so long, Jinchue must be a little hungry, right? Wong Kai thought for a while and then asked. Yes. Chihiro Snow nodded repeatedly. Jinchue is a little hungry now. I want to have a big meal. I understand. Let's go together. Han Street, one of the most famous food streets in Martial Spirit Holy City. Although it wasn't clear who had chosen this very oriental name, this was indeed the most popular place in the Martial Spirit Sacred City. Han Street's location was right next to Martial Spirit Holy City's largest commercial street, Zero Commercial Street. Like the bustling Zero Commercial Street, there were many customers coming and going in Han Street. Most of them were tired from shopping and came here to enjoy the delicious food. Secret recipe: honey-flavored charcoal, roasted soft-bone rabbit. 1 gold soul coin for 2. The taste is delicious. Anyone who eats it will know. Deep-fried golden comb chicken. 20 silver soul coins for 1. 20 years of cooking. You're worth tasting. Sesame cake. 5 copper soul coins for 1. The price is fair and the quantity is large. Before they even entered Han Street, they could already hear the shouting. Hearing the names of the delicacies, Chihiro Snow raised her head and looked at Wong Kai. Her big golden eyes seemed to be saying, I'm hungry. Bring me in to eat. Let's go. Wong Kai rubbed her little head and walked into the food street. Roasted soft-bone rabbit, egg pancakes, fried meat skewers. Although Chihiro Snow wasn't tall, as a soul elder, her appetite wasn't small. Delicacies were devoured by Wong Kai and Chihiro Snow. After eating 10 gold soul coins worth of food, Chihiro Snow finally burped in satisfaction. As Sindoryu's granddaughter, Chihiro Snow's chefs were all top-notch. However, it was still very enjoyable to be able to occasionally change their tastes. Not only Chihiro Snow, but Wong Kai was also quite satisfied with this meal. Under the bridge, by the forest in the gallery, in half a day, Wong Kai and Chihiro Snow's traces were all over half of Martial Spirit Holy City. And with each conversation, Chihiro Snow's face became brighter and brighter, as if a knot in her heart had been untied. That's right. Although she might grow into an all-powerful and ruthless angel god in the future, Qian Rinchue was only a girl who lacked love and was a little traumatized. What Wong Kai wanted to do was to use his love to heal her wounds so that she could grow happily under his wings. Thank you, Wong Kai Gij. It was already late. Wong Kai and Chihiro Snow once again returned to profound Azure Mansion. She kissed Wong Kai affectionately on the lips for a long time. Chihiro Snow blushed and thanked him softly. I also want to thank you, Schwerer. By the way, when you go back, don't forget to cultivate every day. Wang Kai stretched out his hand and flicked Chihiro Snow's white and delicate cheeks. He didn't forget to remind her. I won't forget, because I don't want to be a burden to Wang Kai Gidge, and I don't want to be left behind by Wang Kai Gidge. With firm words, the girl's light shadow gradually disappeared into the night sky. Chapter 89. After kissing Qian Rinxue goodbye, Wang Kai entered the secret cultivation room again. He locked the door, and with a thought, he entered the small plane that belonged to him. This time, he was going to refine another kind of human tier 4th grade elixir, the spirit cleansing pill. Similar to the soul nurturing pill, the spirit cleansing pill was also a human tier 4th grade elixir. However, in terms of difficulty, the spirit cleansing pill was obviously much more difficult than the soul nurturing pill. After preparing the medicinal ingredients and summoning the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, Wang Kai's soul power surged, and a wisp of 3,000 heaven-burning flames was injected into the medicinal cauldron in front of him. When the temperature in the medicinal cauldron reached the right moment, he waved his right hand gently, and his soul power sucked the main ingredient of the spirit cleansing pill, the human tier 4th grade spirit cleansing flower. Refining and purifying the medicinal ingredients, mixing the elixir, condensing the pills, and all kinds of complicated and delicate steps were done by Wang Kai almost in one go, without the slightest pause. The embryonic pills had been formed. Feeling the 9 pills in front of him that were full of medicinal strength but still slightly bumpy, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. This time, the pill refining was also very successful. His hands were constantly changing as he made one pill seal after another. Wang Kai's spiritual power and soul power began to be consumed and condensed between Wang Kai's hands, turning into wisps of white pill chi that flowed into the medicinal cauldron and began the 4th step of nourishing the embryonic pills. After another half an hour, sensing that the pills in the medicinal cauldron had become full and lustrous under the lingering pill chi, Wang Kai gently patted the sides of the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, and the 3,000 heaven-burning flames in the cauldron were instantly extinguished. At the same time, 9 pearl-sized yellow spirit cleansing pills were shaken out of the cauldron by this pat. Picking up a jade bottle that had already been prepared, Wang Kai's hands drew an arc in the air smoothly, and the 9 spirit cleansing pills entered the jade bottle. Immediately, he put the bottle under his nose and gently sniffed. Suddenly, a refreshing fragrance spread out from the mouth of the bottle. With his spiritual power, Wang Kai could clearly feel that the medicinal strength of this batch of spirit-cleansing pills was definitely better than the soul-nurturing pills that he had refined before. Continuing to raise the alchemy fire, Wang Kai repeated the same process and refined a remaining 2 sets of medicinal ingredients in his spirit-cleansing pills. After finishing refining the pills, Wang Kai looked at the 27 yellow spirit-clearing pills in his hand, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. If I finish refining all of these spirit-clearing pills, I'll definitely be able to break through to the multitasking realm. While thinking, Wang Kai sat cross-legged, took out a spirit-cleansing pill, swallowed it, and began to refine it. Not long after, wisps of warm light yellow medicinal power spread out in Wang Kai's abdomen and continuously rushed towards Wang Kai's sea of knowledge. When these medicinal powers entered Wang Kai's knowledge sea, they quickly turned into a faint yellow medicinal power mist floating in Wang Kai's knowledge sea. Refined, holding his breath and concentrating, Wang Kai focused all of his spiritual power in his knowledge sea. Following his thoughts, streams of spiritual power constantly wrapped around the yellow medicinal power mist and began to frantically refine it. With Wang Kai's refinement, the yellow medicinal power mist was constantly diluted and dissipated, and at the same time, Wang Kai's spiritual power was constantly rising. Of course, at the same time that the existing medicinal power in Wang Kai's knowledge sea was constantly being refined, new clouds of medicinal power mist were constantly flowing out from Wang Kai's abdomen and constantly rising into Wang Kai's knowledge sea to replenish it. After 10 minutes, although the medicinal power mist in Wang Kai's knowledge sea had become thinner, it was still not completely refined. At this time, Wang Kai's spiritual power had reached a peak, and accompanied by a faint cracking sound his knowledge C. Wang Kai only felt that a layer of membrane binding his knowledge C had been broken. Accompanied by this crisp sound, Wang Kai's knowledge C began to slowly expand, and finally, the volume of his knowledge C increased by about 10% before it slowly stopped. At the same time that his knowledge C expanded, Wang Kai's total spiritual power increased by a large amount, and his spiritual power realm also completed a breakthrough, reaching the realm of multitasking. With the increase in his spiritual power, Wang Kai's speed of refining the medicinal power also increased again. Another 10 minutes passed, and the mist in his knowledge C was finally completely digested, and the medicinal power of this spirit-cleansing pill was also exhausted. In terms of effect, this spirit-cleansing pill helped my spiritual power complete the leap from multitasking from 5 to 6. It also filled the additional spiritual power I needed to continue to break through to 7. In that case, the medicinal power of a spirit-cleansing pill should be about 1.25 times that of a soul-nurturing pill. After estimating the medicinal power of the spirit-cleansing pill, Wang Kai continued to take out a second spirit-cleansing pill and put it into his mouth, starting the second round of refining. 10%, 17%, 24%. As the spirit-cleansing pills entered his mouth one after another, Wang Kai's spiritual energy got closer and closer to being able to do 7 things at once. However, at the same time, the effect of each spirit-cleansing pill decreased from 8% to 1%. What a pity! It seems that I still have to refine the soul-strengthening pill to break through to 7. After refining 20 spirit-cleansing pills, Wang's spiritual power gap for the next breakthrough was only about half filled. It seemed that he had to refine the soul-strengthening pill of the 5th human tier to complete this breakthrough. That's it for now. Now I can start today's Taishian Heaven Suppression Technique practice. With a thought, Wang Kai took back the chaotic mountain and river cauldron and then continued to sit cross-legged. The soul-strengthening pill was a 5th human tier medicinal pill. If Wang Kai wanted to refine it, he had to maintain the best state of mind and concentrate fully. Today, Wang Kai had already refined 3 batches of spirit-cleansing pills, and his spirit was a little tired. If he rashly tried to refine a 5th-tier medicinal pill, the possibility of failure was very high. Therefore, Wang Kai did not continue to refine pills, and instead began his daily routine of soul power cultivation. Compared to the secret cultivation room, the concentration of soul power in the small plane was slightly lower for the time being. However, cultivating in the small plane, Wang Kai would not be affected by the malice of the world, and the actual efficiency of his cultivation would be higher. The soul power vortex condensed, and the soul power in the small plane continuously surged in, with Wang Kai as the center, pushing the soul power tide in his body higher and higher. 1 wave, 2 waves, 54 waves of soul power surged, and a sea of soul power continuously surged into Wang Kai's body through his pores, expanding Wang Kai's meridians continuously, and also endlessly bringing new soul power and experience to his body. Cultivating the Taishian Heaven Suppression Technique. Origin experience plus 223. Slowly opening his eyes, Wang Kai revealed a trace of joy at the corner of his eyes. Compared to the angel realm, Wang Kai's cultivation speed in the small plane was much slower, but compared to the Dolawa continent, Wang Kai's cultivation speed had increased by almost half. Furthermore, as the concentration of soul power in the small plane continued to increase, Wang Kai's cultivation speed would also become faster and faster. Then today, Master, please bring me to obtain my 5th soul ring. After obtaining my 5th soul ring, Master should not have any business with me for a period of time, and I can also take the opportunity to fight for the opportunity in the ice-fire yin-yang well. With a thought, Wang Kai left the small plane and returned to the secret cultivation room. Chapter 90. Master, I've already rested up. Please take me to obtain my 5th soul ring and break through to Soul King. After resting on the bed for about an hour, Wang Kai directly rushed to Sendoryu's residence and respectfully requested in front of his master, Sendoru. "All right, since you've rested up, I'll take you to obtain your fifth soul ring now." Sendoru nodded amiably as he looked at Wang Kai. Immediately after, he said, "Although it's very difficult for me to help you hunt for 100,000-year soul ring and obtain that incomparably precious 100,000-year soul ring, I'm very confident that I can make your next 5 soul rings surpass 50,000 years in age. In the future, if you have the chance to take the test of those gods, you'll have the chance to increase the cultivation of each soul ring like me. You might even have the chance to obtain 600,000-year soul rings. I'll definitely work hard. Thank you for your nurturing, Master." Although 100,000-year soul ring wasn't an overly precious treasure to Wang Kai, he could still feel Sendoryu's concern and love for him. He hurriedly bowed and replied respectfully. Perhaps to this old man who had just lost his son, he wasn't just his disciple, but also his second child in his heart. "All right, you're my disciple and little Shue's husband. Why are you being so polite? Let's set off." After speaking, Sendoru released his 6-winged angel martial soul. A pair of wings spread out behind his back, and a strand of soul power enveloped Wang Kai as they sped towards the Great Stardow Forest. 50 minutes later, Sendoru slowly brought Wang Kai to a certain area in the central region of the Great Stardow Forest. "Little Kai, your previous soul skills have already included single target attacks, group attacks, materialized soul power weapons, and defensive soul skills. As for your 5th soul skill, I'm prepared to help you obtain an assault-type soul skill. According to the information obtained by a powerful soul de law from our martial soul hall, there's a 60,000-year Umbra killer leopard nearby. It's very suitable for you to make it your 5th soul ring." Sendoru looked at Wang Kai as his feet landed on the ground. Immediately after, his 6th black soul ring flashed behind him. Guardian Angel's Barrier. Following the release of Sendoryu's soul skill, a golden ring of light appeared beneath Wang Kai's feet. Immediately, it formed a barrier that flickered with a faint holy light around Wang Kai. The Shadow Extreme Killing Leopard is very good at hiding, and its speed and attack are also very terrifying. Stay in the barrier and don't go out. I'll call you out after I've crippled it. The 1,000 Paths continued to instruct. "I understand, Master. I'll obediently stay in the barrier." Wang Kai nodded and answered obediently. According to Xiao Guang's calculations, a 60,000-year Umbra killer leopard's attack might not be comparable to a tidal Doloa's, but it definitely wouldn't be too far off. Faced with such a dangerous enemy, Wang Kai naturally wouldn't be foolish enough to leave the Guardian Angel's barrier that Sendoru had specially set up for him. On one side, Wang Kai obediently waited quietly within the Guardian Angel's barrier. On the other side, Sendoru lightly tapped his feet and floated in midair. Boundless spiritual power swept out in all directions. "So you were hiding here?" After less than a minute, Sendoru revealed a sinister smile at the corner of his mouth, and his figure sped away. A moment later, Sendoru's figure stopped beside an ancient tree. Soul power immediately surged from his body. Angel's true body. The 7th black ring behind him flashed. Immediately, Sendoru's body was enveloped in a faint holy light. At the same time, the 6-winged angel behind him quietly moved forward and merged with his body. Immediately, Sendoru's body was dyed a pure gold. Incomparably beautiful golden flames surrounded his body, and his aura increased by a large margin. It was as if a god had descended from the heavens. Angel's Fury. The 8th black soul ring behind him flashed, and Sendoru's aura increased once more. A 10-meter-tall golden angel projection condensed in front of Sendoru and took large strides towards the ancient tree. Originally, there seemed to be nothing under the ancient tree, but as the angel phantom formed by the 1,000 Tao flow approached, an extremely secretive spatial fluctuation suddenly came from under the ancient tree, and a black shadow instantly rushed out. "Evil creature, where do you think you're going?" Sendoru snorted coldly, and his soul power surged out once more. Angel's Bind. Sendoryu's fifth soul ring flashed behind him. With a wave of his right arm, a golden ring containing incomparably holy energy cut through space and shot towards the black shadow. The golden halo tightly bound the body of the black shadow, and at this moment, the black shadow finally revealed a round shape. It was a 3-meter-long, incomparably dark, huge panther-shaped creature covered in strange runes. Tightly bound by Sendoryu's angel's bind, the Umbra killer panther continued to struggle. The strange runes on its skin flickered as it attempted to use its innate ability to infiltrate the shadows. However, although the golden ring of light emitted by the 1,000 streams did not seem to make sense, the dark shadow extreme killer leopard was still unable to break free from the golden ring of light that was binding him, no matter how hard he tried. Yes, this Umbra killer panther's cultivation was over 60,000 years, and its strength was comparable to a top-tier soul Doloa. With its incomparably strange concealment and spatial abilities, even an ordinary titled Doloa might not be able to guarantee that they could kill it. However, how could its resistance be effective against one of the Doloa continent's 3 ultimate Doloa, Sendoryu, the inheritor of the angel god? As the Umbra killer panther's large green eyes filled with despair, the tall golden angel projection directly walked in front of it. The holy light sword in its hand was close to 2 meters wide, and it slashed down at its waist. Accompanied by sizzling sounds of burning, the golden angel's enormous sword of light sliced the Umbra killer panther's body in half. Fresh blood spurted out like a fountain from the Umbra killer panther's wound, which had already been charred black by the high temperature of the sword of light. At this moment, a tyrannical look flashed across the Umbra killer panther's eyes. The runes on its body began to emit waves of black light, and its chi and blood, which had been weakened by its injuries, surged once again. To soul beasts, they were extremely prideful creatures. Generally speaking, soul beasts wouldn't allow themselves to be captured. If they were severely injured by an enemy and were about to be captured, they would choose to self-detonate their soul power and commit suicide. However, in front of Sendoryu, who was an ultimate Doloa, all of this was futile. Self-detonate? In your dreams. Being able to become nourishment for my disciple, to become a soul king, is a blessing that you've cultivated for tens of thousands of years. Sendoryu revealed a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth, and his right hand clenched tightly in the air. Angel's bind. His 5th soul ring flashed behind him, and another golden halo was released from Sendoryu's hand, directly striking towards the Umbra killer panther. Under the effects of the 2 angels' bind, the Umbra killer panther's surging chi and blood and soul power quickly calmed down. The runes on its body also extinguished one after another. Chapter 91. After stopping the Umbra killer panther's self-detonation, Sendoryu slowly dispelled his angelic true body. A strand of soul power wrapped around the 2 halves of the Umbra killer panther's body before he turned around and flew back to where Wang Kai was. You can come out now, my disciple. Once you kill this Umbra killer panther, you'll officially become a soul king. According to my observations, once you become a soul king, you should be able to become a rank 55 soul king with the abundant accumulation you've accumulated in the angel realm. Although he couldn't detect Wang Kai's 2nd martial soul, Sendoryu was able to accurately estimate Wang Kai's soul power rank. Yes, master. After he finished speaking, Wang Kai walked out of the angel's protection barrier while using his eye of detection to look at the Umbra killer panther on ground. Soul beast name, Umbra killer panther. Soul beast year, 60/2030. Soul beast vitality, 10%, near death. Description: this is a rare soul beast that is born with the power of darkness and a portion of space. Its concealment abilities, agility, and attack power are all very strong. It's a natural-born assassin. Master, please be extremely careful. After Xiao Guang's database had been enriched, Wang Kai's eye detection had also been upgraded to a certain extent. Before, when Wang Kai used his eye detection, it would only output the soul beast's name, year, and vitality. But now, If Wang Kai's Eye of Detection was recorded in Xiao Guang's database, he would be able to obtain information on the soul beast characteristics and weaknesses. Shura's dragon-slaying spear go as he felt the Umbra Killer Panther's life force continuously draining away. Wang Kai frantically circulated his soul power and waved his right hand. His third soul ring flashed behind him, and in the next moment, the blood-red Shura's dragon-slaying spear appeared in Wang Kai's hands. Compared to before he entered the angel realm, the pressure and sharpness of Shura's dragon-slaying spear seemed to have reached a whole new level. Although the corresponding soul ring of Shura's dragon-slaying spear didn't increase in age, Shura's dragon-slaying spear continued to absorb the blood of his enemies and underwent a mysterious evolution. Limitless Blood Spear Technique. Standing in front of the Umbra Killer Panther, Wang Kai's spear moved. His spear was dragon-slaying spear like a dragon. Spear after Wang Kai's spear struck. Tang soul, dragon-slaying spear was, and its soul, soul spear Wang, dragon-slaying soul of Tang soul of a soul, soul's a spear, soul, s. Dragon-slaying soul. In the beginning, Sendoryu was only watching with interest as Wang Kai unleashed his spear. However, as Wang Kai's spear aura gradually increased, Sendoryu's eyes gradually revealed a serious look. This is a self-created soul skill that can accumulate power. Although Sendoryu's expression was calm, his heart was in turmoil. He had sensed such a powerful soul skill from someone else before, and that was the Hao Tiandao Tang Chun, who was also an exceptional Dalaw and was even slightly more powerful than him. Even though Wang Kai's spear technique was still a little childish, and there were even a few obvious flaws in it, and it wasn't as strong as the chaotic splitting wind hammer technique, which had shaken the entire continent. The chaotic splitting wind hammer technique was the culmination of the wisdom of countless generations of titled Dalaw from the Clear Sky sect. Right now, Wang Kai was only a soul king who hadn't obtained his fifth soul ring. Under Sendoryu's astonished and admiring gaze, Wang Kai unleashed his final 49th spear strike. The 49 spear strikes combined into one, and Wang Kai's essence, energy, and spirit gathered into one at this moment. An extremely majestic blood-red spear light shot out from the tip of Shura's dragon-slaying spear and pierced towards the Umbra Killer Panther's head in the distance. With a sweeping aura, the blood-red spear light traversed space and directly struck the skull of Shura's dragon-slaying spear, causing a terrifying explosion. Within 100 meters of the Umbra Killer Panther, the shockwaves from the explosion spread wildly, blowing away the green leaves one after another. At the center of the explosion, the blood-red Shura's murderous aura completely enveloped half of the Umbra Killer Panther's body, cooperated to slay a 60,000-year Umbra Killer Panther, robbed of its soul power. Origin experience plus 1,200. Origin credit plus 12. Origin credit plus 4,700. Before the blood-red Shura's murderous aura dissipated, Wang Kai already heard a system notification. Under Wang Kai's everlasting blood spear technique, this dying Umbra Killer Panther was instantly killed without any resistance. Half a minute later, the blood-red Shura's murderous aura began to gradually thin out. Through the faint blood mist, the corpse of the Umbra Killer Panther appeared in front of Wang Kai. After receiving the attack of Wang Kai's everlasting blood spear technique, half of the Umbra Killer Panther's face had been blown away, revealing the bloody brain tissue that had been corroded by Shura's murderous aura. At the same time, the fur on its body had also been corroded and burned. Behind the corpse of the Umbra Killer Panther, a black circle of light had already spread out and quietly floated in the air, flickering with a mysterious luster. It wasn't just the aura. The power of Wang Kai's spear was just as terrifying. For a 60,000-year soul beast, even if it was on the verge of death and its blood was almost exhausted, its physical defense was still able to defend against the attacks of a normal soul ancestor. To be able to cause such terrifying damage to it, this was more than enough to prove the power of Wang Kai's attack. Little Kai, is this your self-created soul skill? Seeing that Wang Kai had put away Shura's dragon-slaying spear, Sindoryu asked with a trace of excitement. Yes, master. In the secret realm of angels, I fought with soul beasts every day to temper my spear techniques. Over time, I had an epiphany and created this everlasting blood spear technique. Hearing Sindoryu's question, Wang Kai hurriedly answered respectfully. Although the everlasting blood spear technique was actually derived from Wang Kai's body by Xiao Guang, Wang Kai naturally wasn't stupid enough to reveal Xiao Guang's existence. However, Xiao Guang's existence was completely dependent on Wang Kai's spiritual power. It was an extension of Wang Kai's body, so it wasn't an exaggeration to say that Wang Kai had created this spear technique. Good, good, good. Sindoryu nodded repeatedly and praised. To be able to create such a powerful soul skill while still a soul ancestor, your perception is truly monstrous. As expected of my, Sindoryu's disciple. Good, good. Although your spear technique still has some flaws, as long as you continue to grow, I can guarantee that the name of the everlasting blood spear technique will resound throughout the Dolua continent. I definitely won't disappoint Master's expectations. Hearing Sindoryu's praise, Wang Kai hurriedly said, All right, I'll protect you while you absorb the 10,000-year soul ring. After speaking, Sindoryu pointed at the black circle in the distance. Chapter 92. Thank you, Master, for protecting me. With that, Wang Kai walked over to the Umbra killer leopard's corpse and sat down cross-legged, calm and composed. After summoning Emperor Shura's martial soul, Wang Kai immediately circulated all the soul power in his body and guided the black soul ring behind the Umbra killer leopard. Following the circulation of Wang Kai's soul power, the black ring floating in the air slowly flew towards Emperor Shura's martial soul behind Wang Kai, as if it had met a magnet. In the end, it fused with Emperor Shura's martial soul. When he had become a soul ancestor, Wang Kai had already been able to fuse with the soul ring of a 57,000-year Blackrock Emperor snake without any pressure. After experiencing a large amount of training in the angel's secret realm and officially becoming a soul king, Wang Kai's physique had reached a new level. Fusing with the soul ring of a mere 62,000-year soul beast was naturally not a problem for him. Without any suspense, under the guidance of Wang Kai's full concentration, he perfectly fused the Umbra killer leopard's soul ring with Emperor Shura's martial soul. Following the end of the fusion, the terrifying pressure enveloping Wang Kai's body quickly disappeared. Replacing it was a warm current of intertwined life, energy, and soul power that crazily surged out from the depths of Wang Kai's body. Following the appearance of the warm current, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly. Although the energy obtained after fusing with the soul ring couldn't directly increase his experience, Wang Kai's physique and total amount of soul power could continuously increase with each fusion. The more soul rings he fused with, the stronger Wang Kai would definitely become. Following this warm current's wanton cleansing in his body, all the cells and tissues in Wang Kai's body frantically absorbed the life energy, completing the evolution and sublimation of his genes. At the same time, Wang Kai's main meridians were continuously expanding under the cleansing of the boundless soul power. Apart from the main meridians, the originally blocked or extremely small meridians in Wang Kai's body were opened and widened one after another, causing the total amount of soul power and the density of soul power in Wang Kai's body to continuously increase. Under the stimulation of the vast amount of energy, Wang Kai's entire body was undergoing a miraculous transformation, causing him to become stronger and stronger. It wasn't just the changes in his body. After fusing with the new soul ring and the influx of soul power, the Emperor Shura's martial soul behind Wang Kai started to further awaken. On the surface of Emperor Shura's body, the inscriptions one after another, blood color inscriptions, 1 and 1, 1, 1, 1 and 1 and 1, 1 inscriptions and 1, 1, 1 blood color inscriptions and inscriptions and inscriptions. Following the appearance and activation of these inscriptions and inscriptions, the space around Emperor Shura seemed to become illusory and even shattered. As the inscriptions appeared, the aura of Emperor Shura's martial soul was also continuously rising. The blood-colored flames on the surface of its body that were formed by the dense killing intent became deeper and hotter. From afar, it actually caused people to have the illusion that their eyes were faintly hurting. Ding! Emperor Shura's first martial soul has absorbed the 10,000-year Umbra Ultimate Killer Leopard Soul Ring and comprehended the fifth soul skill, Shura's Instant Hell Shadow Stab. I've succeeded. 5 hours passed in the blink of an eye. At this moment, the warm current in Wang Kai's body had started to slowly dissipate. Very soon, the warm current completely disappeared. After hearing the system's notification in his mind that the fusion was successful, Wang Kai slowly opened his eyes and stood up. "Little Kai, have you succeeded?" Sendoryu, who was resting with his eyes closed, slowly opened his eyes and asked when he sensed Wang Kai standing up. "Yes, master." Wang Kai nodded. "Right now, I've already advanced to become a rank 55 Soul King." "Rank 55 Soul King, not bad." Sendoryu nodded. "Previously, because you didn't obtain your fifth soul ring, the soul power that you obtained from cultivation was constantly compressed in your body. This was the reason why you were able to accumulate enough soul power to break through 5 ranks consecutively after fusing with your soul ring." "Right, little Kai. How's the effect of your new fifth soul skill?" "Master, my fifth soul skill is called Shura's Instant Hell Shadow Stab." After hearing Sendoryu's question, Wang Kai hurriedly answered. Shura's Instant Hell Shadow Stab was an extremely powerful fusion soul skill that was both sudden and assault type. Not only did it bring about sudden and frightening attacks, it also had a certain degree of control effect on the target. After releasing this soul skill, Wang Kai could fuse with space and teleport. He could suddenly appear beside any target within a 10-meter radius and unleash a powerful Shura stab. At the same time that Wang Kai charged forward, the power of darkness would appear beside the target of this soul skill and bind this unit. If the target's strength was lower than that of a Soul King, they would be restricted by the power of darkness and unable to move for 3 seconds. For those who were stronger than a Soul King, they would also be slowed down by the power of darkness that appeared beside them. As for the strength of this soul skill, Shura's Instant Hell Shadow Stab was definitely at the level of a Soul Emperor. Coupled with its powerful charging ability and binding ability, ordinary Soul Emperors could be severely injured if they were careless. Of course, as powerful as it was, the consumption of this soul skill was definitely not small. However, after fusing with so many 100,000-year soul rings in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, Wang Kai's soul power had increased by many times. Compared to those soul masters of the same level as him, Wang Kai's soul power was at least 10 times denser. As a result, every time he used Shura's Instant Hell Shadow Stab, Wang Kai's soul power consumption was not even 1% of his total soul power. "Not bad. This fifth soul skill of yours is very suitable for your current situation." After hearing Wang Kai's description, Sendoryu nodded in satisfaction. "It's a good soul skill, but it's a pity that this absolute hell shadow leopard didn't drop any soul bones." Wang Kai was no exception to this result. Unless it was a 100,000-year soul beast, even a 90,000-year soul beast might not drop a soul bone if it was killed. For a 60,000-year soul beast, there was only a 10% chance that it would drop a soul bone after its death. It was already very lucky that a soul bone had dropped from the Blackrock Emperor Snake the last time. Wang Kai didn't think that such a lucky thing would happen twice. However, you don't have to be disappointed, because I think you'll be able to obtain your second soul bone very soon. Since you've become a Soul King, you have the qualifications to officially become the holy disciple of the Martial Soul Hall. After returning to the Martial Soul Hall, accompany Schwerwell. About a month later, your coronation ceremony will officially begin. After you become the holy disciple, you'll have a chance to obtain a precious soul bone from the Martial Soul Hall's secret vault. As for the specifics of the coronation ceremony, I'll tell you in detail when we return to the Martial Soul Hall. After he finished speaking, Sindoryu wrapped Wang Kai's body with his soul power. He flapped his wings and rose into the sky, continuing to fly towards the martial soul hall. Chapter 93. An hour later, 2 weeks. I still have 2 weeks to fight for the opportunity in the ice fire Yin-Yang well. Wang Kai nodded as he slowly walked out of Sindoryu's residence. There was a determined look in his eyes. The Martial Soul Hall would officially hold Wang Kai's holy disciple coronation ceremony in a month's time. When that time came, the Martial Soul Hall would invite the 2 empires, the 3 high sects, and the 4 low sects, as well as other renowned powers on the Doloa continent to attend the ceremony. Not only would the important figures from these powers attend, but many of the younger generation from these powers would also be present. Therefore, this wasn't just a coronation ceremony for Wang Kai alone. It was also a silent contest between the Martial Soul Hall and the younger generation of the various powers. Of course, the Martial Soul Hall wouldn't be so stupid as to reveal the fact that Wang Kai had become a Soul King when he was 10.5 years old. According to what Sindoryu and Wang Kai had said, Wang Kai would be described as a 17-year-old Soul King to the public. Although a 17-year-old rank 55 Soul King was still very stunning, it was already within the realm of common sense that most Soul Masters could accept. He wouldn't attract assassination attempt from the various powers because he was too talented. In order to prepare for the ceremony, Wang Kai also had to spend 2 weeks learning about the ceremony. However, during the first 2 weeks, Sindoryu instructed Wang Kai to rest well and accompany Chihiro Snow. Greater authority meant greater responsibility. After becoming a holy disciple, Wang Kai would definitely find it harder to free himself. If he wanted to fight for the opportunity in the ice fire Yin-Yang well, he had to take advantage of this precious week. Evening in a small plane, a 5th grade soul strengthening pill. Although I've never refined a 5th grade pill before, I have no choice but to give it a try now. If I fail, I'll have to spend a lot of points to buy the pill. After ending his cultivation with Chihiro Snow, Wang Kai came to the small plane. He thought to himself as he picked out dozens of medicinal ingredients and placed them on a jade plate. Human tier 5th grade soul strengthening bamboo. Human tier 4th grade blood essence grass. 1,000-year steel-winged snake bone. Human tier 4th grade blue crystal vine. Unlike the 4th grade human tier medicinal pills, the number of heavenly and earthly treasures required to refine a 5th grade medicinal pill was close to 30. The medicinal materials for 2 sets of soul strengthening pills filled 4 jade plates. Chaotic mountain and river cauldron rise. Wang Kai's mind, his soul power surged, and the chaotic mountain and river cauldron appeared in front of him. Following this, Wang Kai's 4th soul ring. 3,000 heaven-incinerating flames. In the next moment, a wisp of purple-black flame that flickered with a strange light appeared on the tip of Wang Kai's right middle finger. Wang Kai gently flicked his finger, and the 3,000 heaven-burning flames flew straight into the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. Human tier 5th grade soul strengthening pill. While thinking, Wang Kai shot a beam of soul power towards the jade plate, bringing the green soul strengthening bamboo in front of him. Soul strengthening bamboo was a strange plant that could only grow at the bottom of the sea where the concentration of soul power was higher than 15 standard and where there was no sunlight. Soul strengthening bamboo couldn't be eaten directly, but it could be refined into a pill that could greatly increase a soul master's spiritual power. Of course, generally speaking, very few soul masters would waste natural treasures to refine soul strengthening bamboo into a pill. On the contrary, only by carrying soul strengthening bamboo for a long time could one bring out the greatest effect of this natural treasure. Although it was only human tier 5th grade, soul strengthening bamboo was still very precious, even in the ancient Doloa continent where the concentration of soul power was much higher. Usually, only the descendants of peak Daw or peerless Doloa who stood at the peak of the Doloa continent were qualified to wear accessories made of soul strengthening bamboo to subtly increase their spiritual power. Now, As the Doluwa continent's overall soul power density had greatly decreased, treasures like the soul-strengthening bamboo had been extinct for many years. Even the Martial Soul Hall hadn't been able to find a single stalk. Perhaps only the Sea God's Island, which was the ruler of the ocean, could possibly have a soul-strengthening bamboo. In the Angel Realm's dark blue sea, Wang Kai had killed two powerful 5,000-year aquatic soul beasts before he obtained these two extremely precious soul-strengthening bamboo in a cave at the bottom of the sea. If it weren't for the fact that the opportunity in the Ice-Fire Yin-Yang well was even more tempting, and that time didn't allow him to slowly display the effects of the soul-strengthening bamboo, Wang Kai definitely wouldn't have rashly used the soul-strengthening bamboo to refine the soul-strengthening pill. The soul-strengthening bamboo arrived above the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, but it didn't melt as quickly as the human tier 4th grade soul-strengthening treasures. On the contrary, after burning for nearly a minute in the 3,000 heaven-incinerating flames, this short soul-strengthening bamboo began to soften slowly. After another 5 minutes, the soul-strengthening bamboo finally melted into a ball of green medicinal liquid the size of a ping-pong ball. Under the burning of the flames, this green medicinal liquid slowly bubbled. Not long after, a little bit of black impurities appeared in the green medicinal liquid and were removed by Wang Kai. 10 minutes later, the impurities in the green medicinal liquid were removed, and the ping-pong ball-sized medicinal liquid had shrunk by nearly a third. Wang Kai finally heaved a sigh of relief. The most crucial step was completed. Not only was the number of human tier 4th grade soul-strengthening treasures more abundant, but the difficulty of processing them was also relatively lower. With the multitasking realm, Wang Kai could process a total of 5 types of soul-strengthening treasures at once, excluding the need to control the temperature of the flames. After nearly an hour, more than 30 types of soul-strengthening treasures were refined and purified by him, turning into balls of colorful medicinal liquid that floated above the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. Fuse for me. In a state of full concentration, Wang Kai's mental power separated a part of the medicinal liquid from one medicinal liquid after another, and continuously mixed with the green medicinal liquid formed by the central soul-strengthening bamboo. Half an hour later, the original green-colored soul-strengthening bamboo medicinal liquid had already expanded several times. A small clump of light yellow-green colored medicinal liquid the size of a red date appeared in front of Wang Kai. Soon after, a new round of purification of impurities began. Not bad, condensed for me. Another half an hour passed, and no new impurities appeared from the medicinal liquid. Wang Kai's mental power frantically compressed this pearl-sized medicinal liquid and began the third step of condensing the pill. Different from the soul-nurturing pill and the spirit-clearing pill, a section of soul-strengthening bamboo could only refine one soul-strengthening pill. Under the compression of Wang Kai's mental power, the medicinal liquid finally began to undergo a magical change, and a yellow and green medicinal pill appeared in its embryonic form. Now that the embryonic pill was formed, it was time to nourish it. With a pat of the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, the fire of the 3,000 heaven-burning flames in the cauldron suddenly decreased. With a light tap of his finger, the embryonic pill entered the cauldron. Wang Kai changed the pill seal in his hand, and traces of pill chi poured into the chaotic mountain and river cauldron and continuously integrated into the embryonic pill. Dozens of minutes later, the surface of the embryonic pill had become incomparably round under the nourishment of the pill chi. Wang Kai's face revealed a trace of satisfaction, and immediately his hands shook on both sides of the chaotic mountain and river cauldron. Chapter 94. Soul-strengthening pill done. Following Wang Kai's attack, the 3,000 heaven-burning fire in the chaotic mountain and river cauldron was immediately extinguished. Taking out a jade bottle, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction after storing the soul-strengthening pill that flew out. Inside the sparkling and translucent jade bottle, a pill the size of a longan lay in the center of the bottle, emitting a strange, eye-catching color. Looking at this hard-earned fifth-grade soul-strengthening pill, Wang Kai's eyes revealed an unconcealable smile. 65% of the medicinal strength? Not bad. Using his spiritual power, Wang Kai probed the medicinal strength of this soul-strengthening pill. Although it didn't enter the high grade, the quality of this pill was already one of the best among mid-grade pills. Wang Kai was already very satisfied with this quality. For Wang Kai, this soul-strengthening pill was his first time refining a fifth-grade pill. Being able to refine a mid-grade pill was already not easy. One had to know that many alchemists often needed several years of research, experience countless failures, and refine hundreds and thousands of useless pills before they could refine their first low-grade fifth-grade pill. Moreover, if one wanted to become a proficient fifth-grade alchemist, these alchemists might need to spend 2 or even 3 times the amount of medicinal ingredients for training. In the current Delua continent, the soul power between heaven and earth was far inferior to that of ancient times. Heaven and earth treasures were almost extinct. Perhaps this was the reason why alchemy and alchemists had disappeared from the current Delua continent. For Wang Kai, if it wasn't for Xiao Guang's all-around support, even if he had the inheritance of introduction to alchemy, essence of alchemy, and obtained theoretical knowledge equivalent to that of a ninth-grade alchemist, it would be impossible for him to refine a fifth-grade human tier pill in just one attempt. Although the system's intelligence was only at the elementary level, it was already so powerful. Wang Kai couldn't imagine if there would be an even more outstanding system intelligence in the future, and its performance would be so outstanding. A human tier 5th rank soul strengthening pill, even though it's only a mid-tier one, should be able to help me break through to the 7 tasking stage. With a thought, Wang Kai grabbed the soul strengthening pill with his soul force and swallowed it. As soon as the soul strengthening pill entered Wang Kai's mouth, a mixture of yellow and green medicinal power rushed into Wang Kai's sea of consciousness. To be able to produce such a rich medicinal effect without even refining it, the soul-strengthening pill was indeed worthy of being called the cream of the crop among human-tier 5th-grade medicinal pills. Not long after, streams of warm medicinal power rose from Wang Kai's lower abdomen, passed through his meridians, and quickly rushed into Wang Kai's sea of consciousness. Compared to the clear spirit pill and soul-nurturing pill from before, this soul-strengthening pill's medicinal strength was actually more than 10 times stronger. Streams of medicinal power rushed into Wang Kai's sea of consciousness, and without waiting for Wang Kai to refine them, the medicinal power had already spread to all parts of Wang Kai's sea of consciousness and continuously transformed into Wang Kai's spiritual power. And often, just as one stream of medicinal power finished transforming, 2 or 3 new streams of medicinal power would surge out, fighting to fill the gap from before. Just by relying on the automatic transformation of the medicinal power, the soul-strengthening pill provided Wang Kai with benefits that were more than twice as much as the clear spirit pill from before. However, if he didn't take the initiative to refine the medicinal power, then the speed of the medicinal power transformation was still too slow, and the actual efficiency wasn't high either. A lot of the medicinal power would dissipate in the process of assimilation. Because of this, Wang Kai crazily urged his spiritual power, and streams of spiritual power reached out, wrapping around the yellow medicinal power with faint green dots in them, and doing his best to refine them. In less than 10 minutes, the total amount of Wang Kai's spiritual power had already increased by nearly 20%, and the gap of spiritual power he needed to do 7 things at once was completely filled. A soft sound came from his sea of consciousness, and Wang Kai only felt that his mind suddenly became clear, and he directly broke through the realm of 7 things at once. Following that, his sharpness of thinking, memory, and comprehension all increased by a large margin. At the same time, as the bottleneck that imprisoned Wang Kai's sea of consciousness was broken, his sea of consciousness also completed the expansion once again, and the area suddenly increased by several times. But after the new area in his sea of consciousness appeared, Wang Kai's original spiritual power constantly rushed to the expanded area, and left enough space for the new spiritual power. After helping Wang Kai to advance to 7 things at once, the medicinal power of the soul-strengthening pill was still abundant, and it still rose from his stomach continuously, and then entered Wang Kai's sea of consciousness. After breaking through to 7 things at once, Wang Kai's speed of refining the medicinal power also increased by a large margin. With Wang Kai's crazy refining, the remaining medicinal power in his sea of consciousness finally began to thin out slowly, and at the same time, the gap of spiritual power he needed to do 8 things at once was also filled up bit by bit. 1%, 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%, 95%. With the disappearance of the medicinal power, Wang Kai's spiritual power not only perfectly broke through from 6 things at once to 7 things at once, but now Wang Kai was only 1 step away from the next promotion to 8 things at once. It was worthy of being the leader of the human rank grade 5 medicinal pills. Although the quality was only intermediate, the medicinal power of a single soul-strengthening pill far exceeded the total of 20 spirit-clearing pills. This is great. Feeling the boundless spiritual power in his sea of consciousness, Wang Kai laughed heartily. Soon, he would be able to split a part of his soul to control the substitute puppet and send his main body to fight for the opportunity in the ice-fire yin-yang well. Since the medicinal power of a single soul-strengthening pill was enough for him to break through to 8 things at once, Wang Kai naturally wouldn't waste the other soul-strengthening bamboo that he had originally prepared by refining it into a medicinal pill. After consuming the soul-strengthening pill, it was very difficult to continue carrying the soul-strengthening bamboo around to increase Wang Kai's spiritual power. Right now, the best way was to make this soul-strengthening bamboo into an accessory and give it to Chihiro Snow. Holding the soul-strengthening bamboo in his hand, Wang Kai's soul power surged out and turned into a small soul power knife, and he cut off the corners of the soul-strengthening bamboo. Immediately after, Wang Kai's soul power wrapped around the soul-strengthening bamboo that had become much rounder. Following the circulation of Wang Kai's soul power, the somewhat rough surface of the soul-strengthening bamboo was continuously polished and gradually became smooth. After everything was done, Wang Kai condensed a trace of the 3,000 heaven-burning fire between his fingers and began to carve on the surface of the soul-strengthening bamboo. After a moment, the carving was completed, and Wang Kai held the soul-strengthening bamboo in his hand and sized it up for a moment. Looking at the words Wang Kai on the front and Chihiro Snow on the side, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. Presumably, that little girl Chihiro Snow would be very happy after receiving this gift. After exchanging for a sturdy red rope to tie up the bamboo tablet, Wang Kai placed the bamboo tablet in a small jade box that he had prepared beforehand and took a deep breath. Now it was time to completely bring this beginner-rank substitute puppet into his control. Chapter 95. Taking large strides to the side of the small plane, Wang Kai stretched his muscles, then sat down cross-legged. Holding his breath, Wang Kai calmed his mind completely, and then focused all his attention on his sea of consciousness. Feeling the vigorous spiritual power in his sea of consciousness, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. According to Little Guang's previous calculations, after his spiritual power reached the level of doing 7 things at once, his spiritual power was enough to split a part of his soul to control the substitute puppet, without causing irreversible damage to his body and soul. Now, Wang Kai's spiritual power was close to the level of doing 8 things at once. To him, splitting a part of his soul would only be easier and safer. After confirming the state of his sea of consciousness, Wang Kai finally activated the soul-splitting secret technique. Following the continuous advancement of the secret technique, Wang Kai's spiritual power in his sea of consciousness slowly split into 2 sides. Of course, this wasn't an even split, but rather a trend of more on one side and less on the other. Half an hour passed. At this time, Wang Kai's spiritual power had already split into 2 distinct masses of different sizes. In the middle of these 2 masses of spiritual power, there was a strange blank area without any spiritual power. At this time, the first step of the soul-splitting secret technique had been completed. However, the first step of the soul-splitting secret technique was only the preparation stage. There was still at least 80% of the additional work needed to complete the split. At the same time, the first step of the soul-splitting secret technique was relatively gentle. It only split the spiritual power and wouldn't cause irreversible damage to Wang Kai's sea of consciousness. After dividing the sea of consciousness, the second step of the soul-splitting secret technique was a lot more dangerous. In this step, the soul master needed to completely split his sea of consciousness and completely separate the slightly smaller mass of spiritual power, turning it into an independent part of his soul. This step of the soul-splitting secret technique was an irreversible process. The splitting of the soul was a permanent loss to the soul master's overall spiritual power. Furthermore, if a soul master's spiritual power was insufficient and they rashly split their soul, their sea of consciousness could be damaged and their future potential would be damaged. They could even become mentally retarded because of the damage to their soul. Even for someone like Wang Kai, who could split his soul when his spiritual power was strong enough, once he split his soul, Wang Kai's spiritual power would drop permanently. Furthermore, splitting one's soul was an extremely difficult and dangerous step. If it failed, it would cause irreversible damage to the soul master's sea of consciousness. Because of this, a soul cultivator had to be extremely careful when using a soul-splitting technique. They couldn't afford to make any mistakes. However, compared to the slight decrease in his spiritual power and the potential dangers that he might encounter, the opportunities in the Ice-Fire Yin-Yang well were clearly far more alluring. Furthermore, with Xiao Guang's assistance, the soul-splitting secret technique that was incomparably dangerous to other soul cultivators wasn't that frightening in Wang Kai's eyes. Stealing his heart, Wang Kai continued to use the soul-splitting technique. Along with the activation of the secret method, the boundary of Wang Kai's sea of consciousness suddenly began to shrink inwards rapidly at the boundary between the two masses of mental strength. Very quickly, Wang Kai's spiritual power was enveloped by the boundary of his sea of consciousness, forming a large and a small portion. Only the middle was connected. Break! Following the activation of the secret technique, the small ball of spiritual power directly separated from the large ball of spiritual power and formed Wang Kai's first split soul. Following the formation of the split soul, Wang Kai immediately felt an intense pain in his sea of consciousness. It was as if he was going to faint at any time, and sweat uncontrollably flowed out of Wang Kai's body. Clenching his teeth and enduring the intense pain, Wang Kai used the last of his energy and directly sent the split soul into the control core of the substitute puppet. After sending out the split soul, Wang Kai hurriedly took out a spirit cleansing pill and directly swallowed it into his stomach. He frantically refined it and began to recover his severely damaged sea of consciousness and spiritual power. After a total of 3 spirit cleansing pills, the intense pain in Wang Kai's sea of consciousness finally subsided. Although the pain had subsided, Wang Kai's spiritual power still directly decreased by a large amount after splitting his soul. From the realm of being on the verge of breaking through to the realm of being able to do 8 things at once, it fell to the level of being able to do 7 things at once. Following the drastic decrease in his spiritual power, Wang Kai only felt that his perception had declined by a large amount. His thoughts seemed to have become somewhat sluggish, which made him feel extremely uncomfortable. However, at this time, Wang Kai was pleasantly surprised to see that after receiving a strand of his split soul, the substitute puppet's eyes immediately showed signs of life. Its temperament also suddenly became lively, almost no different from Wang Kai. At the same time, Wang Kai felt that a special connection had been established between himself and the substitute puppet beside him. Wang Kai's mind moved, and the substitute puppet's right hand directly raised with his mind, then slowly lowered it. How magical! Feeling the manipulation just now, Wang Kai could not help but marvel in his heart. After injecting a strand of his split soul into the substitute puppet, this substitute puppet seemed to have become an extension of Wang Kai's body. Although the puppet was still a little unfamiliar to control, because it had just been injected with the split soul, Wang Kai could not help but nod repeatedly at the novelty of obtaining a second body. Furthermore, just like how a person could control the movements of two pairs of hands at the same time, Wang Kai could control both his body and the substitute puppet at the same time without any interference between the two. Although Wang Kai was still a little unaccustomed to controlling two bodies at the same time in the beginning, after half an hour of adapting and training, he was completely used to controlling both his body and the substitute puppet at the same time. At this time, Wang Kai had already figured out the strength of the substitute puppet. Just like his main body, this substitute puppet was also a soul king. However, although this substitute puppet had inherited Wang Kai's appearance and temperament, it did not inherit Wang Kai's martial soul. In fact, this substitute puppet did not have a martial soul or a soul ring. Fortunately, although it did not have a martial soul or a soul ring, this substitute puppet's soul power was at the level of a soul king. Its physical constitution was also stronger than that of an ordinary soul king. Relying on its fearless nature, this substitute puppet could still cause some trouble for a soul king. Of course, Wang Kai did not purchase this substitute puppet for fighting. Therefore, although its fighting strength was not as strong as he had imagined, Wang Kai was still very satisfied with this substitute puppet. If it was just to substitute him for a short period of time to cultivate, this substitute puppet would be enough to deceive everyone. Not bad. Today, I'll test whether this substitute puppet is feasible. If there are no problems, I'll head directly to the setting sun forest tonight to seize the opportunity in the Icefire Yin-Yang Well. Wang Kai nodded with satisfaction and left the small plane, returning to the Dolawa continent. Chapter 96. The next morning. You're early as usual today. Stretching lazily, Wang Kai opened his sleepy eyes. The first thing he saw was Chihiro Snow, who was wearing a cute white dress and sitting on the big chair in his bedroom. She was reading a thick book while quietly waiting for him. Good morning, Brother Wang Kai. Hearing Wang Kai's call, Chihiro Snow's eyes revealed a trace of joy. She quickly put down the book in her hand, got up, and walked to Wang Kai's side with small quick steps. Her fair face leaned on Wang Kai's shoulder, and a gentle voice came out from her cherry lips. Because I wanted to see Brother Wang Kai as soon as possible, Wing Xuan naturally came early. Pausing for a moment, Chihiro Snow continued in a somewhat distressed tone. However, I heard from the maids in the Green Shin Hall that Brother Wang Kai cultivated in the secret room for a very long time last night and only went to bed very late. Therefore, Wang Shui didn't disturb Brother Wang Kai and wanted to let Brother Wang Kai have good rest. Oh, so that's how it is. So Shui is really a cute and obedient child. As he stretched out his left hand and gently stroked the girl's snow-white forehead, Wang Kai took out the jade box that he had prepared yesterday from the bedside cabinet. He gently opened the lid of the box, and an exquisite dark green amulet made from soul-strengthening bamboo was displayed within. Thank you, Brother Wang Kai. Hearing Wang Kai's praise and feeling the warmth of Wang Kai's large hand, Chihiro Snow's face revealed a sweet smile. Immediately, she saw the jade box in Wang Kai's hand. Her big, watery eyes suddenly lit up, and she asked with some anticipation in her voice, "Is this the gift you're giving me, Brother Wang Kai?" Shui, you're really smart. You guessed it right away. As he spoke, Wang Kai extended his hand and took out the amulet. Then, he gently placed it on Qian Ren's snow-white neck. Then, Wang Kai explained calmly, "In the angel realm, I obtained a heavenly treasure by chance. If you carry this treasure around with you for a long time, it can subtly increase the spiritual power of a soul master. Because of that, I refined this treasure a little and made it into a protective talisman for Shui, or what do you think of it?" Gently turning the amulet over, Chihiro Snow saw her and Wang Kai's names engraved on the surface of the amulet. Instantly, Qian Rinshue's face involuntarily flushed with a faint blush. Then, she shyly and gratefully said in a low voice, "This gift, I really like it. Thank you so much, Big Brother Wong Kai. As she spoke, Chihiro's snow pressed even harder against Wong Kai's body. Heh, as long as Shui doesn't mind the craftsmanship of this amulet. Feeling the beautiful girl getting closer and closer to him, Wong Kai couldn't help but smile dotingly. After that, Wong Kai reminded her again, Shui, you must always wear this amulet with you. Only when you wear it will this amulet be effective. It'll continuously increase your spiritual power and give Shui a better chance of advancing in the future. Yes, I understand, Big Brother Wong Kai. I'll definitely wear this amulet with me. After hearing Wong Kai's words, Chihiro Snow nodded her head. Then, she said gratefully, right, Big Brother Wong Kai, such a treasure that can increase spiritual power must be very precious, right? Shui is really touched that you're giving me such a precious treasure. It's nothing. While stroking Chihiro Snow's soft golden hair, Wong Kai said, in my heart, Shui-er's value is much more precious than this amulet. Thank you, Big Brother Wong Kai. Big Brother Wong Kai is the best. After hearing Wong Kai's words, Chihiro Snow was overjoyed. Then, she gently moved closer to Wong Kai's handsome face and kissed him a few times. Good girl, Shui-er is so obedient. After kissing her back gently, Wong Kai held Chihiro Snow's hand and said, Shui, where do you want to go with me today? Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, it was already evening. It seems that Chihiro Snow can't see through the mystery of the substitute puppet for the time being. Then today, I can set off to grab the opportunity in the ice fire Well. After a day of sightseeing, Wong Kai said goodbye to Chihiro Snow and returned to the profound Azure Mansion. After giving away the Jade token, Wong Kai took the opportunity to release the substitute puppet while he hid in the small plane. At the same time, he attached the plane's beacon to the substitute puppet. After a day of careful observation, Chihiro Snow didn't notice the secret of the substitute puppet. Therefore, using the substitute puppet to hide from Chihiro Snow for a week was completely feasible. After a while, Wong Kai left the profound Azure Mansion. Half an hour later, Wong Kai used his divided soul to control the substitute puppet and returned to the Green Xian Hall. At the same time, his main body had changed into ordinary clothes and put on a face-changing mask. He quietly left the outer city of the Martial Spirit Saint City. As the core of the Martial Spirit Palace, a soul master who wanted to enter the Martial Spirit Saint City naturally had to go through a strict inspection. However, for those who left the Martial Spirit Saint City, the inspection was much weaker. After 4 years, Wong Kai was finally able to leave Martial Soul Holy City by himself. About 5 kilometers away from the outer city of the Martial Spirit Saint City, Wong Kai put on a cloak that he had purchased at a high price from the system shop. It was a cloak that could conceal his body. Then he started running. Although he had the substitute puppet, once Sindoryu personally came to find him, the substitute puppet would definitely not be able to hide from Sindoryu, who was already a peerless Doloa. Although he could say that it was the opportunity in the angel realm, it was very likely that his secret would be exposed. Now that he was shrouded in the thick malice of the world, Wong Kai didn't want anything to go wrong. The sooner he returned to the Martial Spirit Palace, the safer his situation would be. The Sunset Forest was thousands of kilometers away from the Martial Spirit Saint City. Even if his speed and endurance far exceeded that of an ordinary soul master, his time was very precious and couldn't be wasted. Striding with all his strength, Wong Kai's speed quickly approached 100 meters per second. On the path that Wong Kai was moving, a gust of wind suddenly blew. As he ran at high speed, the night wind that blew against his face was as sharp as a blade. Feeling the stinging pain on his face, Wong Kai slightly activated his soul force and formed a thin layer of soul force in front of him. Only then did the discomfort brought about by the wind pressure gradually disappear. With the rapid running, the magnificent Martial Spirit Saint City behind Wong Kai became smaller and smaller. Soon, it turned into a small dot and finally disappeared from sight. Sunset Forest, Icefire Well, I'm coming. Chapter 97. 10 hours later, after a mad dash, Phew, I'm finally here. The setting sun forest is here. According to the map of the Doluo continent that Xiao Guang had scanned into the database, the dense and boundless forest in front of Wang Kai was the legendary treasure ground. The setting sun forest where the Icefire Yinyang well was located. Wang Kai finally let out a sigh of relief when he reached his destination. Running at close to 300 kilometers per hour at top speed, left even Wang Kai feeling incomparably fatigued. If he didn't have the power of the earth to constantly replenish his energy, Wang Kai would have been completely exhausted in 10 minutes. And now, even though Wang Kai's stamina was still maintained at a relatively vigorous level with the continuous replenishment of the earth force, he wanted to have a good rest after 10 hours of intense running. After resting for about half an hour in the small plain, Wang Kai finally stepped into the setting sun forest. After advancing about 10 kilometers into the setting sun forest, Wang Kai silently instructed in his mind, "Xiao Guang, show me the 3D map of the setting sun forest. At the same time, mark the locations of all the hills that are more than 100 meters tall." The setting sun forest was an enormous forest of soul beasts that spanned more than 50 kilometers. Although Wang Kai knew that the Icefire Yinyang well was definitely in the setting sun forest, he didn't know its exact location. If he used a blind search method, Wang Kai wouldn't be able to search the entire setting sun forest even after a month. Fortunately, Wang Kai had the help of Xiao Guang's elementary intelligence. At the same time, he also knew 3 special characteristics of the Icefire Yinyang well. First, the Icefire Yinyang well was located in a valley on a cliff. Second, the concentration of soul power near the Icefire Yinyang well was definitely much higher than outside. Third, the Icefire Yinyang well was a hot spring, and the surrounding temperature was much higher. With the help of these 3 pieces of information and Xiao Guang's powerful detection abilities, Wang Kai's search was no longer blind. But even so, Wang Kai still needed to spend a certain amount of time to find the Icefire Yinyang well. Of these 3 characteristics, the first one was undoubtedly the most convenient to search for. By limiting the search area to the hill, they had already eliminated 99% of the setting sun forest. After finding those hills, they would search according to the density and temperature of their soul force. This was undoubtedly much more efficient than searching blindly. Therefore, Wang Kai gave the corresponding order to Little Light in his sea of consciousness. "Master, according to the known map of Sunset Forest, there are a total of 11 hills in Sunset Forest that meet the requirements." Following Little Light's prompt, a 3-dimensional map of the setting sun forest appeared in Wang Kai's mind. 11. Observing the location of the valleys marked in his sea of consciousness, Wang Kai nodded. Of these 11 hills, 4 were located at the edge of the setting sun forest, while the other 7 were located at the center of the forest. According to Wang Kai's hypothesis, the Icefire Yinyang well was most likely located in the core area of the setting sun forest. There were many soul masters who entered the setting sun forest to hunt soul beasts. If the Icefire Yinyang well was located at the edge of the forest, it was impossible for no one to discover it. Based on this, Wang Kai deduced that the Icefire Yinyang well should be located at one of the 7 hills in the depths of the setting sun forest. Having made up his mind, Wang Kai chose the closest one of the 7 hills to him and ran toward the map in his sea of consciousness. At the same time, he ordered Little Light to detect the concentration of soul force in the surrounding area. Unlike the outside world, there were no smooth roads in the setting sun forest. At the same time, the deeper he went into the setting sun forest, the more ancient trees and soul beasts there were. After 2 hours of running and fighting, Wang Kai finally arrived at his target location. "It seems like it's not here." Wang Kai shook his head as he felt the temperature around him. "Little Light, detect the density of soul force around here." Wang Kai ordered to be safe. "Yes, master. The density of soul force around here is 2.7 standard." Little Light quickly replied to Wang Kai. 2.7 times the standard soul power density. This soul power density seemed very high, and it was close to 3 times the average soul power density of the Doluo continent. However, According to the knowledge in the true alchemy explanation, a place like the ice-fire yin-yang well that could produce ninth-grade heaven-rank treasures had to have a soul power density of at least 100 standard soul power densities. If the ice-fire yin-yang well was at the top of the mountain, the density of soul force shouldn't be as low as 2.7, even if there was a certain distance between them. However, Wong Kai didn't know if a place like the ice-fire yin-yang well had the ability to store soul force. If that was the case, the density of soul force around it wouldn't increase so much. To be safe, Wong Kai was prepared to climb to the top of the mountain to take a look. When he reached the bottom of the mountain, Wong Kai circulated his soul force slightly. Immediately, sharp Shura claws grew from Wong Kai's hands. However, Wong Kai's body didn't change at all at the same time. Part of Emperor Shura's possession, Wong Kai had obtained a new innate ability from his martial soul when he became a Soul King. According to Wong Kai's needs, Wong Kai could allow part of his body to enter the state of Emperor Shura's possession. He didn't need to transform his entire body into Shura. Thrusting his claws forward, Wong Kai's claws pierced into the rock layer. Then, using both his hands and feet, Wong Kai climbed up. It really isn't here. 20 minutes later, Wong Kai didn't find any traces of the ice-fire yin-yang well after searching the entire mountaintop. It seemed like that mysterious treasure land wasn't here. Wong Kai didn't climb down slowly when he reached the edge of the cliff. Instead, Wong Kai circulated his soul force slightly and covered his entire body with his gravity domain. Then he gently jumped down. Under the effects of the gravity domain, Wong Kai's gravitational force was reduced by 90%. His body also slowly descended to the ground. Not long after, Wong Kai's feet stepped onto the ground at the bottom of the mountain. It seems like I was overthinking things. Wong Kai shook his head and continued to rush to the next marked hill. The second, third, and fourth. Wong Kai didn't find any traces of the ice-fire yin-yang, well, even after searching 4 suspected locations. At this point, it was already dusk. Wong Kai felt a little helpless in his heart. He took advantage of the darkness of the night and continued to rush to the 5th suspected location in the north. Another hour passed, and Wong Kai could see a figure slowly emerging from a steep, cone-shaped depression in the distance. Wong Kai could sense that the temperature and soul power density around him had clearly increased. It seemed like the ice-fire yin-yang well was here. Just as Wong Kai was filled with joy, he suddenly heard an intense tremor in the ground. Then he saw countless soul beasts appear in the distance, and they were all rushing in his direction. In front of Wong Kai, a beast tide had actually erupted without anyone noticing. Chapter 98. There were 5,000-year iron-head lions, 3,000-year bone-edged demon beasts, 4,000-year spirit flame bees. Wong Kai discovered dozens of 1,000-year soul beasts amidst the incoming wave of soul beasts. More and more soul beasts were surging towards Wong Kai from a distance away. 1,000-year soul beasts weren't rare in the core region of the setting sun forest. Wong Kai had killed a few 1,000-year soul beasts along the way. However, soul beasts generally had their own space to move about, and they rarely entered the hunting grounds of other soul beasts to provoke them. As a result, it was very rare to see so many soul beasts at the same time. Of course, normal soul masters wouldn't want to see such a spectacle. If they didn't have enough soul power, they would only die if they were caught in a wave of soul beasts. Even a soul sage would quickly run out of soul force if he was surrounded by so many 1,000-year soul beasts, and would eventually be defeated. Generally speaking, only titled Doa, who possessed unparalleled strength, and some soul masters who could fly because of their martial souls or soul skills, were confident of escaping from such a terrifying beast tide head-on. Great! However, it was obvious that Wong Kai wasn't one of those normal soul masters. Wong Kai didn't reveal any fear in his eyes as he watched the wave of soul beasts. Instead, he was extremely excited. To Wong Kai, who possessed the power of the earth and could continuously replenish his soul power, these soul beasts were just free experience and points. Emperor Shura, possess. With a thought, Emperor Shura's projection behind Wong Kai quickly approached him and fused into his body. Following the fusion of Emperor Shura's martial soul, streaks of ferocious Shura's murderous aura surged from Wang Kai's body. At the same time, countless black scales with mysterious runes formed on the surface of Wang Kai's body and covered his entire body. Following the sound of bones growing, two sharp Shura's horns emerged from Wang Kai's forehead. At the same time, his palms swelled up slightly. Sharp and thick exoskeleton grew from Wang Kai's palms and turned into sharp and ferocious Shura's claws. Following this, streaks of dark flames burned on Wang Kai's Shura's scales. As the flames rose, Wang Kai's distracting thoughts and cowardice were completely eliminated. All that was left was a burning desire to fight. Shura's Emperor Armor, Shura's Dragon-Slaying Spear. Wang Kai's second and fourth Black Soul rings lit up at the same time as he channeled his soul power. With a wave of his right hand, an extremely pure blood-colored Shura's murderous aura condensed in Wang Kai's palm and turned into a blood-colored spear with a five-clawed golden dragon carved on it. At the same time, the blood-colored murderous aura covered Wang Kai's body and condensed into a set of awe-inspiring Emperor Shura's Emperor Armor that further protected his body. Fight! After putting on the armor, Wang Kai stomped his right foot on the ground and shot towards the group of soul beasts like a black arrow. Boundless Blood Spear. After killing his way into the group of soul beasts, Wang Kai waved his hands and his spear shot out like a dragon. With a blood-curdling scream, Wang Kai's spear pierced through the head of a 2,000-year three-tailed silver snake in front of him. With a light flick of his hands, the corpse of the three-tailed silver snake separated from the Shura's dragon-slaying spear and flew out. Its body, which weighed several hundred kilograms, landed on the ground with a dull thud and kicked up a cloud of dust. 1,000-year, three-tailed silver snake killed. Origin experience +3. Points +300. A purple circle of light slowly rose from behind the corpse of the three-tailed silver snake. Wang Kai also heard a system announcement. For a 2,000-year soul beast, its fighting strength was comparable to that of an ordinary soul ancestor or a genius soul elder with a 1,000-year soul ring. However, in front of Wang Kai, it couldn't even withstand a single spear strike. After becoming a soul king and going through the angel's secret realms test, Wang Kai's fighting strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Even if he didn't use the chaotic mountain and river cauldron with a 100,000-year soul ring, Wang Kai's fighting strength was comparable to that of an ordinary high-level soul emperor just by using the earth's strength and Xiao Guang's ability to discover the enemy's weakness. Of course, to unleash such a powerful attack, even for Wang Kai, it wasn't without a price. To be able to kill a 1,000-year soul beast in one strike, Wang Kai had poured in a huge amount of soul force and even spiritual power into this strike. If he didn't have the power of the earth to replenish it, the everlasting blood spear would have consumed about 10% of Wang Kai's soul force. Coupled with the consumption of Emperor Shura's possession and other soul skills, Wang Kai's soul power would be depleted after a few hundred spears. However, all of this was just a hypothesis. As Wang Kai's strength continued to increase, his chaotic mountain and river cauldron continued to evolve. Although the Earth's Strength Soul Ring itself hadn't been upgraded, the recovery it provided to Wang Kai had greatly increased. Every second, Wang Kai could recover 0.5% of his maximum soul power from the Earth's strength. As long as he didn't go all out, Wang Kai didn't have to worry about the problem of his soul power consumption. Again, borrowing the momentum of the first spear strike, Wang Kai's second spear strike was already out. The tip of the spear flashed with a cold light as it drew a blood moon in the air, and a deep wound appeared on the belly of a 1,800 years old green howling falcon flying through the air. After weakly flapping its wings a few times, the unlucky azure howling falcon fell straight to the ground. Shura's murderous aura on the tip of Shura's dragon-slaying spear had already seeped into the azure howling falcon's body through the wound. Its internal organs were continuously being corroded by Shura's murderous aura. How could the azure howling falcon, which was already heavily injured and on the verge of death, withstand such damage? In less than 2 seconds, the remaining light of life in its eyes completely disappeared, and a purple halo floated out from its body and floated behind its back. 1,000-year Azure Howling Falcon killed. Origin experience +2, experience +4,000, points +240. At this moment, the soul beasts in the beast tide also sensed the smell of blood in the air. These soul beasts were already a little disorderly, and after being stimulated by the smell of blood, the scene became even more chaotic. At the same time, attracted by the smell of blood, several soul beasts in the beast tide broke away from the main group and pounced toward Wang Kai. A 3,200-year horned wolf, a 3,000-year fire cloud lion, and a 2,700-year bone-devouring ant. These 3 soul beasts had around 3,000 years of cultivation, and they immediately surrounded Wang Kai. Chapter 99. Good timing. Seeing the 3,000-year soul beasts pouncing towards him, Wang Kai roared and thrust his spear at each of the 3 soul beasts. Each 3,000-year soul beast was no weaker than a normal soul ancestor in terms of fighting strength. With the 3 soul beasts attacking together, even a normal soul king would have to avoid them when combined with their powerful strength and special innate abilities. Unfortunately, Wang Kai was not a normal soul king. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 spear strikes left 3 bloody streaks in the air, and the bodies of the 3,000-year soul beasts suddenly froze. Poochie, poochie, poochie. Following 3 ear-piercing sounds of flesh being torn apart, the 3 soul beasts' throats were strangely torn apart by the spear, and they fell to the ground dead. Killed the 1,000-year soul beast unicorn wolf, fire cloud lion, and bone-devouring ant received +18, 3,400, and 1,800 points. With 3 spear strikes, the 3,000-year soul beasts were killed by Wang Kai. With a twist of his body, Wang Kai continued to kill the other 1,000-year soul beasts. Limitless Blood Spear. Moving towards the nearest 2,000-year curly-hair illusionary claw boar, Wang Kai waved his hands, and Shura's dragon-slaying spear went straight for the root of the problem. Following the sound of the spear piercing through the air, Shura's dragon-slaying spear pierced through the thick nostrils of the curly-hair illusionary claw boar. Shura's baleful aura frantically corroded the boar, and in a few seconds, the curly-hair illusionary claw boar's brain was turned into a sticky, bloody paste. Pulling out the spear, the curly-hair illusionary claw boar's 4 legs went soft, and its 2-meter-long, 1,000-kilogram fat body could no longer support itself. With a plop sound, it fell to the ground, and a purple soul ring slowly rose behind it. The sound of the system notification that he had received experience rang in his mind. At this time, Wang Kai suddenly felt a burning sensation in front of him. Spiritual wanderer steps. Feeling the danger, Wang Kai instinctively used his footwork to dodge, and his body flashed several meters away. At this moment, a scorching fireball hit the spot where Wang Kai was originally standing. Following a violent explosion, sparks flew and a gust of wind swept across the surroundings. Wang Kai lowered his head to take a look. After the explosion, a shallow black crater with a depth of more than 10 li and a radius of about 1 meter had appeared on the ground. In the shallow pit, the raging flames continued to burn. Good heavens! How dare you attack me? Looking up, the one who attacked Wang Kai was a 7,000-year fire cloud heavenly horse. The fireball, just now, was one of the innate abilities of this fire cloud heavenly horse. As a 7,000-year soul beast, the fire cloud Pegasus was a first-rate soul king. It could even fight against the weakest of low-level soul emperors. And as its innate ability, the power of the fireball, just now, was definitely not inferior to the all-out attack of a soul king with a 10,000-year soul ring. Even if it was Wang Kai, if he was hit head-on by that attack, it would be difficult for him to be unharmed. Fortunately, Wang Kai had the terrifying battle awareness from Emperor Shura and also grasped a peerless footwork like the spiritual wanderer's steps. Only then was he able to dodge the attack of the fire cloud heavenly horse. Shura's sky-splitting strike. Facing this fire cloud heavenly horse that dared to take the initiative to attack him, Wong Kai was naturally not prepared to forgive it easily. At the same time, as a 7,000-year soul beast, the experience and points obtained from killing the fire cloud heavenly horse were much more abundant than that of ordinary 1,000-year soul beasts. The third black soul ring behind him flashed. Wong Kai clasped his hands above his head and slowly swung them down. Countless scarlet blood blades flew out from Wong Kai's hands. They cut through space and shot toward the fire cloud heavenly horse in the distance, leaving behind strange blood shadows in the air. At the same time, Wong Kai tapped his feet on the ground again and charged towards the fire cloud heavenly horse in the distance. Seeing the countless blood blades shooting towards it, the fire cloud heavenly horse suddenly opened its mouth and spat out a flaming barrier. The scarlet blood blades collided with the flaming barrier and exploded into clouds of blood. At the same time, the flaming barrier in front of the fire cloud heavenly horse quickly became thin and dim. A few seconds later, the flaming barrier shattered and the remaining Shura's sky-splitting blades struck the surface of the fire cloud heavenly horse's body. Some were blocked by the thick blood energy around its body, while some left bloody marks on the weak parts of its body. After letting out a sorrowful cry, the fire cloud heavenly horse suddenly flapped its wings and soared into the sky, wanting to break through the air and escape. Just as the fire cloud heavenly horse was about to escape, Wong Kai had already arrived near it. Shura's instant hell, shadow, killing stab. The fifth black soul ring behind him flashed, and Wong Kai's body instantly disappeared. At the same time, streaks of black shadow energy transformed into black tentacles that tightly wrapped around the fire cloud heavenly horse's body, preventing it from escaping. Right at this moment, Wong Kai's figure appeared beside the fire cloud heavenly horse once again. With a wave of his right hand, a black Shura's thorn shot out and pierced through the fire cloud heavenly horse's body. The Shura's thorn didn't seem thick, but the moment it entered the fire cloud heavenly horse's body, it left a bloody hole that was about the size of a tennis ball. The fire cloud heavenly horse crazily activated the blood energy in its body, but realized in despair that it couldn't stop the Shura's thorn from penetrating its body. After entering the fire cloud heavenly horse's body, the Shura's thorn shot out from the other side in less than a second, leaving behind a huge round hole that was about a meter long. Countless Shura's baleful aura spread through the wound. Feeling the intense pain in its body, the fire cloud heavenly horse let out a mournful howl once again. Its legs went limp, and it was about to fall to the ground. Before he had advanced to Soul King, Wong Kai had barely managed to kill the large-clawed mountain tiger in the angel's secret realm with his dual martial souls. However, after a year of battle and tempering, a 7,000-year soul beast was just a walking experience for Wong Kai. Noisy, become my resource for advancing. Limitless Blood Fiend Spear Technique. Although he had used other soul skills, the spear aura condensed on Wong Kai's body didn't break. Seeing that the fire cloud heavenly horse had almost lost its ability to resist, Wong Kai continued to use this self-created soul skill. Puchi. A spear shot out, followed by a light flick, and the fire cloud heavenly horse's skull was sent flying by Wong Kai. Its most fragile head was injured, and the fire cloud heavenly horse lost consciousness due to the intense pain, falling to the ground. With another shot, the blood-red Shura's Muruaw spear directly pierced through the fire cloud heavenly horse's white brain. With a light twist, it suddenly pulled out, killed 1,000-year soul beast, fire cloud heavenly horse, origin experience plus 28, experience plus 4,100, origin points plus 2,840. Shaking off the sticky white brain on the tip of his spear, Wong Kai stomped his feet and charged towards the next 1,000-year soul beast. Chapter 100. Limitless Blood Fiend Spear Art. After killing the fire cloud heavenly horse, Wong Kai turned around and arrived in front of a 4,000-year long-necked mantis. Following that, he pierced through the sun with his spear. Seeing Wang Kai charging over, the long-necked mantis was not to be outdone. With a flash of its sharp pincers, it brought along a fishy wind and clamped down on Wang Kai's face. Accompanied by the crisp sound of bones breaking, the long-necked mantis's pincers were instantly broken and green blood spurted out. However, the spear's momentum did not stop. Shura's dragon-killing spear continued to stab towards the long-necked mantis's chest. Compared to ordinary soul beasts, the long-necked mantis's body was covered with a thick layer of carapace, and its defense was stronger. At the same time, the power of Wang Kai's spear was reduced due to the obstruction of the long-necked mantis's pincers. With this spear, Wang Kai only scratched the surface of the long-necked mantis's carapace, but was unable to kill it in one strike. Again, although it was lucky enough to escape from this spear, this did not mean that this long-necked mantis could live. With a flip of his hands, Wang Kai stabbed his spear towards the broken carapace in front of the long-necked mantis. Pucci, accompanied by the sound of flesh tearing, Shura's dragon-killing spear directly pierced through the body of the long-necked mantis. Immediately after, Wang Kai suddenly flicked. Plop, plop. The long-necked mantis's thin body was directly torn in half by Wang Kai's attack and fell heavily to the ground. Green blood flowed out from the corpse's wound and dyed the brown ground dark green. At the same time, a purple soul ring rose from the center of the two halves of the corpse. All of you shall become resources for my advancement. Accompanied by the notification in his sea of consciousness, Wang Kai's figure flashed again and charged towards the other 1,000-year gray-feathered ape beside him. Arriving in front of it, Wang Kai swept out with his spear, drawing a blood moon in the air. Its neck was almost sliced in half, and its spine was completely broken by this strike. The gray-feathered ape lost control of its brain, swaying and flailing its limbs instinctively before falling heavily to the ground. 1,000-year gray-feathered ape killed. Source experience +1, experience +4,000, points +140. With each shot, although he only received a few or 10 experience points each time, little drops made a mickle. Very quickly, Wang Kai's experience points neared 300, and at this time, Wang Kai's limitless blood fiend spear art spear force had finally accumulated to the 48th level. 300 experience points. Even in the angel realm, this was what Wang Kai had earned after a day of hunting soul beasts. In the beast horde, Wang Kai had achieved such a glorious result in less than a few minutes. To other soul masters, a beast tide was a calamity that would almost certainly kill them. However, to Wang Kai, this was an opportunity that could allow him to grow quickly. A hint of excitement flashed across Wang Kai's eyes as he felt the Azura Dragonslayer spear's accumulated power reach its peak. Wang Kai moved towards the area where the 1,000-year soul beasts were the most concentrated. Taking a deep breath, he silently gathered his strength for a moment before thrusting his spear out like a dragon. At this moment, Wang Kai's essence, energy, and spirit merged into one. Once again, he fused the strength of the 49 spear strikes into his spear. With a sweep of his spear, a blood-colored spear light condensed from the 49 spear strikes shot out from the tip of Shura's dragon-slaying spear. It swept through the soul beast for close to 100 meters, leaving behind streaks of blood-colored fiendish aura that slowly dissipated in the air. In the path of the blood-colored spear light, countless soul beasts were instantly torn apart, turning into pieces that fell to the ground. Blood flowed like a river. Countless white, yellow, and purple soul rings slowly rose from the corpses on the ground. Under the night sky, they were exceptionally eye-catching and beautiful. Not only were the 10-year and 100-year soul beasts killed by Wang Kai's spear, even the 1,000-year soul beasts were killed. Only a few 1,000-year soul beasts that were near the edge of the spear managed to escape with their lives from Wang Kai's attack with their strength and luck. You've killed a group of soul beasts. Obtained 121 origin experience, 230,000 experience, 115 origin experience, 236 origin experience, 35,100 points. With a spear by his side, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. After that, he adjusted his direction and charged toward another area where soul beasts were more concentrated. Limitless Blood Fiend's Spear Art. Rushing to the side of a 2,000-year moonlight mastiff, Wang Kai mercilessly stabbed out with his spear. Although the accumulated spear aura had been swept away, under Wang Kai's full-strength attack, this moonlight mastiff was unable to resist at all. It immediately fell to the ground and died. Spear after spear, Wang Kai's accumulated spear aura had once again reached its peak. Limitless Blood Fiend's Spear Art. Changing his direction once again, the blood-colored spear light dyed the night sky blood red. The soul beasts along the spear light's path were all strangled to near extinction under this spear. With this attack, Wang Kai once again obtained more than 200 origin experience points. At the same time, his points also increased by tens of thousands. Excellent. As expected, for Shura, for Conqueror, killing is the best way to grow. In just half an hour, the experience I've obtained has already exceeded what I've obtained in 5 days of cultivation. Continue. Turning the spear head, Wang Kai turned around and charged into the group of soul beasts once again. One spear ended the life of a 1,000-year watermark otter. At this moment, Wang Kai suddenly heard a rustling sound. Listening carefully, it sounded like someone changing clothes, but also like the sound of leaves rubbing against each other. Following the sound, a faint sense of danger shrouded Wang Kai's heart. Danger! Instinctively, Wang Kai's fifth soul ring flashed behind him. Shura's instant prison shadow stab. His figure disappeared from his original position. However, this time, Wang Kai's soul skill was not for attacking, but for dodging. Spiderweb. A huge spiderweb with a radius of 5 meters. A figure appeared in the distance. Wang Kai looked at the place where he was standing with lingering fear. That place was already covered by a huge, milky, white spiderweb. Surrounded by the spiderweb, several soul beasts fainted the moment their bodies touched the spiderweb, losing the ability to resist. Looking up, in front of Wang Kai was a huge black spider. Its body was close to 3 meters in diameter, and this strange spider had 8 legs that were close to 5 meters long. Its entire body was covered by a layer of shiny black carapace. Every step it took forward, the tip of its slender feet would silently dig into the ground. It was enough to see how sharp it was. The spiderweb just now was the masterpiece of this huge spider. Before he used his appraisal eye to observe, a name involuntarily jumped out in Wang Kai's heart: Arachnid. Chapter 101. Looking at the spider's lower abdomen, there were a few pale white patterns that formed a stark contrast with the spider's black body. Moreover, the arrangement of these white lines was not disorderly. On the contrary, they formed the shape of a ferocious and ugly human face in a rather orderly manner. On both sides of this face, there were 4 pairs of basketball-sized eyes that flickered with a faint purple light. Upon closer inspection, these 8 eyes were different from human eyes. They weren't a single entity, but were made up of countless pearl-sized compound eyes. They were exceptionally crude and sinister. Seeing this terrifying face, Wang Kai was certain of the spider's identity. Yes, this was the Arachnid, the nightmare of small soul beasts, an existence that devoured life, the target of all soul beasts' hatred, a terrifying and evil slaughterer. Even among soul beasts, the Arachnid clan was one of the strongest and most savage existences. Apart from the Titan giant ape, the sky azure bull python, and a few other soul beasts, the Arachnid's fighting strength was definitely one of the best among soul beasts. It had a sturdy carapace, incomparably fast speed, and 8 legs that had extremely strong penetrative power and were laced with poison. Whether it was the Arachnid's defense, agility, or attack power, there wasn't the slightest flaw to be found. At the same time, it also had a terrifying innate skill: instant spiderweb. Yes, instant spiderweb. Normal spiders' webs were slowly formed by spinning silk, but the arachnid was different. Its spider web could be directly spat out. Not only could the arachnid's spider web be instantly cast, the area it covered was also 10 times the size of the arachnid's body. It was almost impossible to dodge, even for Wang Kai. If not for the Shura's instant hell shadow stab soul skill that could merge with space, he wouldn't have been able to dodge the arachnid's spider web in time with just the wave-treading steps. Furthermore, the arachnid's spider web was not only extremely sticky and incomparably tough, it was also laced with a powerful neurotoxin. Even soul beasts with similar cultivations to it would fall into a temporary coma if they were caught in the web. Even if the soul beasts weren't knocked unconscious, they would still need a long time to break free from such a tough web. This was enough time for arachnid to kill its prey. Of course, once he was hit by arachnid's spider web, Wang Kai would have to spend a lot of effort to escape. However, Wang Kai was not worried about the spider web or arachnid's poison. Shura, as one of the most powerful creatures in the universe, their bodies could be said to have been tempered thousands of times, making them impervious to all poisons. Apart from the decaying power produced when a universe was dying, the source of all poisons in the star boundary, and a few other deadly poisons, the Shura clan was not afraid of any poison. As the possessor of Emperor Shura's martial soul, Wang Kai's body had automatically inherited some of Shura's characteristics. Although he could not be truly impervious to all poisons like Shura, at least most poisons on the Doloa continent could not have any substantial effect on Wang Kai. This was also why Wang Kai dared to come to the Ice-Fire Yin-Yang well to seek opportunities, even though he knew that Dugabo was guarding it. Of course, if he were to face a titled Doloa head-on, Wang Kai would not have any chance of escaping alive. Even Dugabo's strongest attack, poison, was completely countered by Wang Kai's physique. With just his frightening soul power, Dugabo could kill him. However, Wang Kai did not need to fight Dugabo. What Wang Kai had to do was to pass Dugabo's test and gain his trust. After that, he would trick him into eating the star anise mysterious ice grass and the blazing delicate apricot. These two herbs could neutralize the poison in Dugabo's body. However, at the same time, they would dissipate the power that he had painstakingly cultivated for his entire life. When that happened, he could kill Dugabo and cut off one of Tang San's arms. As for if Dugabo wanted to consume the pill that he had cultivated, Wang Kai did not have to worry at all. Although Wang Kai would definitely die if the pill that contained half of Dugabo's power exploded in his body, as long as he teleported the pill into the small plane before Dugabo discovered the problem. The power of the plane would prevent Dugabo from detonating the pill. Wealth came from danger. Although he might encounter a certain amount of risk, once he succeeded, the rewards Wang Kai would obtain would also be incomparably generous. Then, let me see how strong this arachnid is. At this moment, Wang Kai revealed a serious look on his face for the first time as he looked at the enormous arachnid in front of him. To an arachnid, their fighting strength far exceeded that of ordinary soul beasts. If an ordinary soul beast with around 10,000 years of cultivation was comparable to a high-tier soul emperor, then an arachnid with the same cultivation would be comparable to a soul sage with his martial soul true body. Although one of the arachnid's innate abilities, poisoning Wang Kai, was ineffective, if this arachnid's cultivation reached 20,000 years, it would be able to crush Wang Kai with its immense physical strength and blood. However, if this arachnid's cultivation was below 15,000 years, then Wang Kai would be able to put up a fight. Just as Wang Kai was thinking, the Eye of Detection returned the arachnid's information, forming a transparent table in Wang Kai's mind. Soul Beast name, Arachnid. Soul Beast age, 1,140 years. Soul Beast vitality, 65%, slightly injured. Soul Beast description, man-faced demon spider, the king of spider-type soul beasts. A powerful soul beast with impeccable attack, defense, and agility. Innate abilities, poison, instant spiderweb. Owner, please be careful. It has less than 12,000 years of cultivation. and it's still in a slightly injured state? After carefully sizing up the arachnid in front of him again, Wang Kai discovered that there were a few cracks on its hard shell below its abdomen. However, Wang Kai's attention was completely attracted by the arachnid's strange human face, so he didn't notice its injuries. In addition, its 8 long legs had different degrees of wear and tear. At this moment, the arachnid realized that its attack had missed, but it didn't shoot out another spider web. Although it had reached 10,000 years of cultivation, it could only use its instant spider web 5 times a day. On the contrary, its 8 long legs kicked off, and with a whoosh, it passed through the forest and pounced towards Wang Kai. It wanted to engage in close combat with Wang Kai. "Umph, you still dare to attack me when you're injured. Be obedient and become my food for evolution." At this moment, Wang Kai's fighting spirit was ignited. He shouted angrily, grabbed Shura's dragon-slaying spear, and leapt towards the arachnid. Chapter 102. Gravitational Domain. As he leapt out, a second red halo lit up behind Wang Kai as he activated this powerful domain-type skill. Soul power surged as the chaotic cauldron of mountains and rivers appeared above Wang Kai's head. At the same time, an invisible domain covered the area around Wang Kai. Under the effect of the gravitational domain, Wang Kai's speed increased by 20%. On the other side, arachnid's speed decreased by a few percent as it was restrained by the gravitational domain. The human and spider clashed in the air. Arachnid raised its 2 front legs and slashed down at Wang Kai's head. The arachnid's front legs shone with a strange light. The sharpness of its front legs was no less than a well-tempered blade. Coupled with the frightening strength of the man-faced demon spider, even a 1-meter-thick rock could be easily split in half by a single kick. Open. Faced with arachnid's fatal attack, Wang Kai roared as he gathered all the strength in his body and swung Shura's Dragon Slayer spear forward. At the same time, Wang Kai controlled the gravitational domain to increase the gravity on him to the maximum. He also exerted a strong repulsive force on arachnid. Following the sound of metal colliding, sparks flew in all directions. Instantly, Wang Kai was sent flying. He took 3 steps back before he could stabilize himself, leaving 3 ankle-deep craters in the ground. Wang Kai's hands were numb from this attack. His internal organs were shaken, and there was a sweet taste in his throat. Of course, arachnid didn't have it easy either. It was sent flying by Wang Kai's gravitational domain and landed on the ground. Its 4 legs were in the air, and thick cracks appeared on the ground. What great strength! No wonder it's a top-tier soul beast. Wang Kai couldn't help but praise arachnid in his heart as he felt its strength. Although he had the gravitational domain, Wang Kai didn't have the upper hand in terms of strength against arachnid. Although he had killed several 10,000-year soul beasts in the angel realm, this arachnid was much stronger than any 10,000-year soul beast that Wang Kai had ever defeated. Even the purple-eyed armored bear that had gone berserk was only on par with arachnid in terms of strength. At this moment, arachnid had already flipped over. Its 8 large eyes glared fiercely at Wang Kai. Evidently, Wang Kai's attack had angered it. Boundless waves of soul power gathered in arachnid's body. A layer of purple light spread from its body, revealing an extremely dangerous aura. Streaks of purple aura spread out from arachnid's body. All the trees within a 5-meter radius of arachnid started to melt and quickly turned into balls of green liquid. It wasn't just the trees. Even the soil beneath arachnid's feet was being corroded by this purple aura. What strong corrosiveness! Wang Kai couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air when he saw the changes around arachnid. Even a soul king would be melted into a ball of thick liquid if they were hit by this corrosive liquid. Even if it was injured, arachnid's fighting strength was definitely comparable to a soul sage. After it finished accumulating power, the man-faced demon spider suddenly opened its bloody mouth. Suddenly, a ball of dense purple light condensed in its mouth. Then, a purple ball of corrosive light crossed the space and shot in Wang Kai's direction, leaving a thick stench in the air. mysterious yellow protection. His first soul ring flashed behind him, and the chaotic mountain and river cauldron above Wang Kai's head trembled slightly. A brownish yellow, incomparably thick, mysterious yellow aura floated out of the chaotic mountain and river cauldron and formed a thick layer of mysterious yellow barrier in front of Wang Kai. The purple ball of corrosive light directly hit the mysterious yellow barrier and immediately burst open. Instantly, the mysterious yellow barrier was enveloped by a thick layer of purple corrosive venom, and it quickly blurred. A few seconds later, the mysterious yellow barrier exhausted its last bit of energy and turned into yellow earth particles that dissipated into the air. With the power of this attack, Arachnid actually broke through the mysterious yellow barrier that Wang Kai was so proud of. Of course, it was not easy to condense such a powerful attack, even for this 10,000-year arachnid. Just as it was recovering its energy, Wang Kai moved. The soul power in his entire body surged crazily. In the next moment, 3 red and 2 black soul rings behind Wang Kai lit up at the same time. 3,000 heaven-burning flames, mountain and river destruction, Shura's sky-splitting strike, mysterious yellow aura, Shura's blood claw, limitless blood fiend spear technique. Multitasking, Wang Kai used almost all of his powerful soul skills at once. In the next moment, the power of mysterious yellow once again surged out from the chaotic mountain and river cauldron and floated in the air, emitting a heavy aura. Immediately, after being suppressed by the gravity domain, Arachnid's speed decreased by another 20%. A wisp of purplish-black, 3,000 heaven-burning flames ignited from the chaotic mountain and river cauldron and condensed into a beautiful and dangerous flame flower that burned straight towards Arachnid's body in the distance. The shadow of the chaotic mountain and river cauldron rose high above Arachnid's head and immediately fell down with the terrifying power of the Nirvana mountain and river. At the same time, Wang Kai once again became one with his spear and activated the Shura's dragon-killing spear to stab toward Arachnid. Facing the 6 attacks that were exploding towards it, Arachnid had no intention of dodging. On the contrary, it continued to push off with its 8 legs and shot toward Wang Kai. The scarlet blood blades from the Shura's sky-splitting strike struck Arachnid's outer shell and left shallow cuts on its hard shell. The shadow of the chaotic mountain and river cauldron descended from the sky and smashed heavily onto Arachnid's back, creating a dent that was tens of centimeters deep on its shell, and purple juice kept flowing out. The 3,000 heaven-burning flames enveloped Arachnid's 8 sharp front legs and kept burning, emitting a strange burnt smell. Although it was injured by Wang Kai's soul skills, Arachnid's speed did not decrease at all. When it arrived in front of Wang Kai, Arachnid raised its 4 front legs high and slashed down fiercely. This time, its slashing speed was even faster, and its long legs were covered in corrosive purple light. In addition to the paralyzing poison in its body, if it hit, Wang Kai would immediately be in danger, even if he had a constitution that made him immune to poison. Seeing this, Wang Kai quickly changed his strategy. The Shura's dragon-killing spear that he was about to stab out was quickly placed in front of his chest to block Arachnid's slash. Following a violent collision, Wang Kai only felt a huge force coming from Shura's dragon-killing spear. Following this, Wang Kai's body flew backwards once again. At this moment, Wang Kai, who was in midair, suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. He looked into the distance and saw the ferocious face on Arachnid's stomach open its mouth again. A white spiderweb shot towards Wang Kai, who was unable to move in the air. Chapter 103. Shura's instantaneous hell shadow stab. A devilish smile appeared on Wang Kai's face as his 5th soul ring suddenly lit up. His figure suddenly disappeared from where he was, and when he reappeared, Wang Kai was already 10 meters away. At the same time, Arachnid's spiderweb exploded in the air, and its surface area suddenly increased by several times. If not for the fact that Wang Kai had released his soul skill in time, he would have become Arachnid's prey. At this moment, the man-faced demonic spider had finished accumulating power, and it opened its ferocious mouth once again. Instantly, a thick purple light wave condensed in front of its mouth. After that, it pierced through the forest and shot towards Wang Kai. Compared to the purple ball of light that Arachnid had shot out before, the corrosive purple light wave that Arachnid had shot out this time was evidently more powerful. Wang Kai's figure flashed, and he activated his wave-treading steps as he frantically shot to the side. The purple light beam swept past Wang Kai's body, and all the branches and leaves in its path were corroded into a ball of sticky liquid that exuded a strong stench. The purple light beam hit the ground, and even the ground was being corroded by the terrifying power of the purple light beam. At this moment, Arachnid's head moved slightly when it saw that the corrosive purple light beam didn't hit Wang Kai. The purple light beam continued to shoot out from its mouth, and it suddenly changed direction in the air and continued to chase after Wang Kai. Wang Kai tapped his feet lightly on a nearby tree, and he activated his wave-treading steps again. He suddenly changed his angle in the air and avoided Arachnid's corrosive light wave. At the same time, Wang Kai swung his right arm, and Shura's dragon-slaying spear left his hand. It traversed tens of meters and was aimed at Arachnid's open mouth. For the man-faced demon spiders, whose bodies were covered in thick carapaces, their only weaknesses were their exposed eyes and mouth. Now that Arachnid dared to open its mouth in front of Wang Kai, he naturally wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Following a low dragon's roar, Shura's dragon-slaying spear pierced through the air and viciously shot towards Arachnid's open mouth. Arachnid didn't panic at all when it saw Shura's dragon-slaying spear flying towards it. It shook its head slightly, and the corrosive purple light wave changed direction in the air and went straight for Shura's dragon-slaying spear. Z. Following an ear-piercing sound of metal corrosion, the spear's dragon-slaying spear's body was rapidly corroded by the corrosive light wave. At this moment, Wang's dragon-slaying spear and the dragon-slaying spear's spear explode. Suddenly, Shura's dragon-slaying spear exploded very close to Arachnid's mouth and turned into a dense fog of Shura's murderous aura. At the same time, the corrosive light wave in Arachnid's mouth was also affected by Shura's dragon-slaying spear's explosion, and the corrosive purple liquid splattered all over the ground. In the next moment, the grass within a few meters of Arachnid's body instantly turned yellow, and then turned into thick water. The fog of blood dissipated, and Arachnid's eyes were already blinded by Shura's murderous aura after the explosion of Shura's dragon-slaying spear. A shrill and ear-piercing shriek rang through the night sky. At this moment, Wang Kai was finally able to catch his breath. After unleashing so many soul skills in succession, he had expended close to a quarter of his soul power. As he frantically absorbed the power of the earth to recover his soul power, Wang Kai used his scouting eye again and looked at Arachnid in the distance. Soul beast name, Arachnid. Soul beast year, 1140. Soul beast life force, 35%. Heavily injured. Excellent. Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction as he looked at the data from the scouting eye. Although he had expended a lot of soul power, Wang Kai's attack had also depleted close to 30% of Arachnid's life force. This was undoubtedly very beneficial to Wang Kai. Wang Kai's soul power was quickly replenished by the power of the earth, but Arachnid's life force couldn't be replenished so easily unless it ate and rested a lot. Naturally, Wang Kai wouldn't give it any chance to breathe. 3,000 heaven-burning flames. Mountain river obliteration. Shura's sky-splitting strike. Xian Wang Qi suppress. Shura's blood claw. Shura's dragon-killing spear. Limitless blood fiend spear. Using the same method, Wang Kai crazily circulated his soul power, and the 3 black and 3 red soul rings behind him suddenly lit up. He was multitasking, and in the next moment, 6 soul skills formed a torrent of energy that shot towards Arachnid in the distance. Countless scarlet blood blades, 2 Shura's blood claws that were emitting a dense amount of Shura's fiend aura, and a purplish-black flame flower formed by the 3,000 heaven-burning flames. 6 soul skills hit Arachnid's body almost at the same time. Hiss! Following Arachnid's miserable shriek, countless soul skills exploded on the surface of Arachnid's body. With her life force dropping so low, Arachnid's blood energy had also decreased greatly. Without the protection of her blood energy, Wong Kai's soul skills undoubtedly caused considerable damage to Arachnid. Under Wong Kai's soul skills, cracks and dents were left on Arachnid's hard outer shell. Some of the weaker parts even directly exploded, revealing the brownish-red flesh inside. The blood-red Shura's fiend aura crazily surged into Arachnid's body from the broken shell, continuously destroying the tissues and nerves inside. At the same time, without the protection of her blood energy, the 3,000 heaven-burning flames quickly spread on Arachnid's body, charring piece after piece of flesh black. Her life force was constantly draining away, but Arachnid still did not lose the ability to move. As the saying goes, a centipede dies but never falls down. Although Arachnid did not have a centipede, her life force was still extremely tenacious. However, at this moment, Shura's fiend aura and the 3,000 heaven-burning flames had already corroded the nerves in her body. Although her brain was constantly issuing orders to attack, Arachnid's body was only rolling around aimlessly. At this moment, streams of purple and blue venom were constantly gushing out from her broken shell. In an instant, the weak plants around Arachnid were instantly corroded. As a man-faced demon spider rolled left and right, even the thick trees that were hit by its body were immediately smashed to pieces. Within a radius of 10 square meters, it was a complete mess. There was not a single plant that was still intact. Seeing that Arachnid was so heavily injured, Wong Kai did not chase after her. Firstly, Wong Kai was not sure if this Arachnid, who was covered in venom, had any hidden methods like self-detonation. Once he got close, it would only increase the danger. Secondly, after releasing 2 rounds of soul skills, Wong Kai's soul power had already been depleted by more than 40%. At the same time, his physical strength and spiritual power were also greatly depleted. Compared to killing this dying Arachnid, recovering his soul power was the most important choice. While staring at the struggling Arachnid in the distance, Wong Kai frantically absorbed the power of the earth to recover his soul power, physical strength, and spiritual power. Chapter 104. The rich power of the earth continued to enter his body, and under the effect of his soul skills, it was continuously converted into pure soul power and physical strength. As one of the few large soul beast forests on the Dolawa continent, the power of the earth here was abnormally rich, and the speed at which it was converted into soul power was exceptionally fast. The soul power and physical strength in his body continued to rise, and in less than 2 minutes, Wong Kai had already returned to his optimal state. Concentrating his spiritual power on the distant Arachnid, Wong Kai once again used his eye of detection to scan this enormous savage creature. Seeing the results of the eye of detection, Wong Kai nodded slightly. After experiencing Wong Kai's second round of bombardment, this savage 10,000-year Arachnid's life force had plummeted once again. It only had less than 10% of its life force left, and had entered a state of near death. Under the continuous burning of the 3,000 heavens burning flames, its body was already emitting a burnt smell. If one were to pass through the Arachnid's shell and enter the savage beast's body, this 2-meter-tall giant creature would have already turned into a bloody paste. Even though its body was poisoned, under the corrosion of Shura's baleful aura, the Arachnid had no chance of resisting. A thick purplish-black liquid continuously flowed out of the wounds on the surface of the Arachnid's body. Not a single plant could be seen within a few meters of its body, and even the earth had turned into a pool of purplish mucus, with bubbles constantly rolling about. As time passed, the Arachnid's body's arc of movement became smaller and smaller. If one were to observe carefully, the bluish-purple luster on the surface of the Arachnid shell was also becoming dimmer and dimmer, and it was clear that it was no longer alive. However, at this moment, Wang Kai didn't dare to rashly approach the arachnid. Even though it was heavily injured, the arachnid still had the ability to instantly release spiderwebs. And it was clear that the closer he was to the man-faced demon spider, the higher the probability of its instant web hitting him. This arachnid was already on the verge of death. Wang Kai did not want to be ambushed at the last moment and fail miserably. After all, even if her eyes were injured, arachnid could still lock onto the enemy's position through smell. However, although he couldn't get close, it didn't mean that Wang Kai didn't have the means to kill arachnid. Shura's dragon-killing spear. Wang Kai activated the soul power in his veins, and a third black ring of light suddenly lit up behind him. He extended his right hand, and the blood-red Shura's baleful aura converged to form a mighty and domineering blood-red Shura's dragon-slaying spear. Unlike a weapon formed from a physical martial soul, the Shura's dragon-slaying spear was formed from soul skill. Even if it was damaged, it wouldn't affect Wang Kai at all. As a result, the Shura's dragon-slaying spear was as good as new, even though it was struck directly by the arachnid's corrosive light waves. Dying, Wang Kai crazily gathered his strength as he swung his right hand behind his back. After that, he gathered all the strength in his body and flung the Shura's dragon-slaying spear towards one of the arachnid's spider eyes. Accompanied by a sonic boom, the blood-red Shura's dragon-slaying spear pierced through the air and shot towards the arachnid's face with unparalleled power. With Wang Kai's full strength, the Shura's dragon-slaying spear was so fast that it formed an invisible cyclone around the spear's body. All the leaves and small branches within a few meters of the spear were crushed into pieces. Poochie, accompanied by a dull sound, the Shura's dragon-slaying spear pierced through the arachnid's eyeball, which was the weakest part of the arachnid's body. The tip of the spear pierced into the arachnid's brain, and only half of the spear's body was still visible. Even if the arachnid's body was fully recovered and protected by its blood energy, its eyes couldn't possibly withstand such a powerful attack. Furthermore, the arachnid in front of Wang Kai was on the brink of death. Its blood energy was so weak that it couldn't even dodge. It could only watch in despair as the tip of Shura's dragon-slaying spear grew larger and larger in its field of vision. The arachnid howled in pain again after being severely injured. However, compared to the previous two howls, the arachnid's howls were undoubtedly a lot softer this time. There was even a hint of pleading in its voice. Its life energy was so weak that it didn't even have the strength to scream. Explode. Faced with such a dangerous soul beast, Wang Kai naturally wouldn't show any mercy. He circulated his soul power slightly, and Shura's dragon-slaying spear, which had pierced through the arachnid's eyeball, immediately exploded. The blood-colored Shura's murderous aura spread wildly in all directions along with the explosion. In an instant, the dense Shura's murderous aura invaded the arachnid's brain. Faced with such an attack, even a 10,000-year soul beast at its peak would find it hard to survive. Furthermore, the arachnid was already on the brink of death. Immediately, the last trace of life in the arachnid's eyes disappeared. Its 8 sharp limbs swayed slightly and finally lost control. They softly opened up to form a large me character. You've killed the 10,000-year arachnid. You've received plus 200 origin experience, plus 9901 experience, plus 2 origin points, plus 99 origin points. At this moment, the system's notification sounded in Wang Kai's mind. At the same time, purplish-black light continuously dissipated from the arachnid's body and gathered above its body. The purplish-black light rapidly collided and condensed in the air. In less than 10 seconds, a faint black soul ring formed in the air and slowly floated above the arachnid's corpse. I've finally killed it. Looking at the arachnid's corpse in front of him, Wang Kai slowly let out a breath of turbid air. The corner of his mouth revealed a relaxed smile. At this moment, a look of bewilderment flashed across Wang Kai's face. Oh, something's not right. The system clearly indicated that it was killed. This arachnid still has traces of life left. The corner of his eye wrinkled slightly. Wang Kai slightly channeled his soul power, and Shura's dragonslayer spear appeared in his right hand once more. Following this, Wang Kai was a little wary as he slowly walked over to the arachnid's side. Is it here? Looking at the place where the arachnid's stomach was slightly bulging, Wang Kai could sense that the faint traces of life were coming from there. Wang Kai waved his right hand, and Shura's dragonslayer spear slashed through the air, creating a cold blood moon. The outer shell of the arachnid's body had already been shattered. Without the protection of its blood energy, it couldn't withstand the sharpness of Shura's dragonslayer's spear. Following the sound of flesh being torn apart, Shura's dragonslayer spear cut through the remains of the arachnid's corpse. Following this, a football-sized spider egg with jade green runes engraved on its shell fell to the ground with a plop. Chapter 105. Spider Egg. Wang Kai furrowed his brow as he looked at the arachnid egg in front of him. Forget it. I'll help you to the end. Since I've killed your mother, I'll send you on your way too. Wang Kai naturally had no interest in hatching an ugly and poisonous arachnid egg. Shura's dragon-slaying spear pierced the spider egg with a light tap of his right hand. He channeled a bit of his soul power, and a wisp of Azura chi flowed along the tip of the Azura dragon-slaying spear and into the spider egg. It's not dead, Wang Kai exclaimed after waiting for a few seconds. The life force in the arachnid egg didn't decrease. Instead, it grew stronger. Interesting. Wang Kai nodded with interest as he looked at the arachnid egg in front of him. Wang Kai's Shura's murderous aura was enough to corrode an adult arachnid egg's body. Even a sliver of Shura's murderous aura was enough to exterminate the young life inside an arachnid egg that had no blood energy to protect it. Again, a trace of curiosity appeared in Wang Kai's heart. He didn't directly pierce through the spider egg with his spear. Instead, he circulated his soul force and poured a trace of Azura's fiendish aura into the egg. The life force in the egg grew stronger after this new sliver of Shura's murderous aura entered the egg. It even seemed to desire Shura's murderous aura. Interesting. Wang Kai's eyes flashed as he activated his soul force again and injected several slivers of Shura's murderous aura into the egg. Following the infusion of Shura's baleful aura, the spider egg in front of Wang Kai began to glow with a faint red light. The dark green runes on the outer shell of the spider egg also began to fade, turning into a dark red color. At the same time, the outer shell of the spider egg began to slowly expand. Seeing the changes in the spider egg, Wang Kai became even more curious. Following the infusion of Shura's baleful aura, the life aura of the spider egg before Wang Kai's eyes became increasingly exuberant. At the same time, the dark green runes on the outer shell of the spider egg had completely turned into the dark red color of Shura's baleful aura. Moreover, it flickered with a rather beautiful luster. At this time, the arachnid egg had nearly doubled in size. Carefully sensing the condition of the spider egg, Wang Kai felt that the weak consciousness within the spider egg seemed to be getting closer and closer to him. Just as Wang Kai was about to increase the power of Shura's baleful aura, a slight resistance came from the spider egg. Are you full? To be able to withstand so much of Shura's baleful aura, this spider egg is truly extraordinary. It looks like we're fated to meet. Forget it. Let me see what kind of existence you can grow into after absorbing my Shura's baleful aura. Facing this arachnid egg that had absorbed Shura's baleful aura, Wang Kai didn't plan on destroying it. With a thought, Wang Kai stopped the infusion of Shura's baleful aura and withdrew Shura's dragonslayer spear. Following the withdrawal of the spear, a faint red light flashed on the spider egg. The crack caused by Shura's dragonslayer spear quickly recovered. A streak of soul force picked up the spider egg on the ground. With a thought, Wang Kai entered the small plane. After entering the small plane, Wang Kai dug a large hole near the plane furnace and buried the spider egg in it. Soon after, he filled up the hole again. Shura's dragonslayer spear drew a large cross on the hatching area of the spider egg as a mark. Wang Kai left the small plane again. Coming to Arachnid's side, he waved his spear and chopped off the 8 sharp legs of the arachnid egg and stored it in the small plain. Wang Kai once again turned into a black shadow and killed his way into the beast tide. With a flick of his spear and a tear of his claws, 1,000-year-soul beast after another fell under Wang Kai's hands. Wang Kai's points continued to rise rapidly. 3 hours later, has the beast tide finally retreated? Looking at the decreasing number of soul beasts around him, Wang Kai sighed with slight disappointment. Within 3 hours, Wang Kai had obtained almost 5,000 experience points, and his points had increased from 4,500,000 to 5 million. It could be said that tonight's slaughter was equivalent to half a month of Wang Kai's cultivation. As for the special arachnid egg that absorbed Shura's killing intent, it was an even more unexpected gain. The only thing that Wang Kai felt a little regretful was that these soul beasts didn't drop any soul bones. Of course, Wang Kai wasn't too surprised by this. After all, soul bones weren't cabbages. Although the probability of a 60,000-year soul beast dropping a soul bone was close to 10%, the lower the age of the soul beast, the lower the probability of dropping a soul bone. Generally speaking, for a 10,000-year soul beast, the probability of dropping a soul bone was only 1 in a few hundred. For the 1,000-year soul beast that Wang Kai mainly killed today, he might need to kill hundreds of thousands or even millions of them to have a chance of obtaining a soul bone. Today, Wang Kai killed a total of less than 1,000 soul beasts, so it was very normal that he didn't drop any soul bones. All right, little Guang, from the soul beast that I killed, did you find out the reason for the soul beast tide? Are there any strong soul beasts fighting nearby? After contacting Emperor Shura's possession and dispersing the Emperor Shura's armor on his body, Wang Kai secretly asked in his heart. The soul beast tide wouldn't happen for no reason. Generally speaking, unless there was a heaven and earth treasure in some place, or if there was a strong soul beast soul master fighting, the soul beasts wouldn't leave their habitat in large numbers. If the reason for this beast tide was the latter, Wang Kai didn't dare to rashly go. Once he entered the battlefield of strong soul beasts, they definitely wouldn't mind killing him with a slap. Master, from the corpses of the soul beast that you killed, little Guang didn't detect any obvious strong soul beast aura. According to little Guang's speculations, this beast tide is a malicious attempt by the world to test and attack you. Generally speaking, a world treasure ground like the Icefire Yin-Yang Well that you mentioned would receive the world's protection and special attention. The world is also much stronger than other places. The infinite martial soul system has already helped Master to shield half of the world's malice. However, in a place like the Icefire Yin-Yang Well, the world's will is too strong. Even if it is shielded, it will still have a great impact on Master. Generally speaking, the world's will can't affect soul masters. However, if it's just guiding some soul beasts that don't have intelligence, it's still possible. This beast tide might be a malicious attempt by the world to attack you. The world's malice? I see. Nodding his head, Wang Kai turned his gaze to the mountain peak in the distance. Icefire Yin-Yang Well, I'm coming. The beast tide had already dispersed, and Wang Kai stared at the mountain peak in the distance. The trace of disappointment in his eyes had completely disappeared, and only an incomparable desire and excitement remained. After that, he took large strides and headed straight for the mountain peak. Chapter 106. When he reached the bottom of the mountain, Wang Kai circulated his soul power slightly, and Shura's claws grew out of his hands. After that, he used both his hands and feet to climb up the mountain path. The mountain path was very rugged, but Wang Kai was able to travel several meters with every step he took after activating his gravity domain. Furthermore, the distance between each step was very even. If one looked at it from afar, it would seem as if Wang Kai was climbing up the mountain vertically. As Wang Kai climbed, the trees on both sides of the mountain path gradually became fewer and fewer. At the same time, the temperature and density of soul power in the air continued to rise. As he carefully sniffed the air, Wang Kai could already smell an extremely faint smell of sulfur. Very quickly, Wang Kai reached the top of the mountain. The temperature here became warmer and warmer, and there was even a hint of humidity in the air. When he sensed the density of the soul power around him, Wang Kai was pleasantly surprised to discover that the density of soul power here wasn't any weaker than the angel realm. There was no doubt that the ice-fire yin-yang well was right in front of him. When he looked up, just as expected, milky white smoke was rising continuously less than a kilometer away from Wang Kai. With a thought, Wang Kai withdrew his Shura's claws and took large strides in the direction of the smoke. There's poison. Wang Kai wasn't even halfway there when he suddenly felt a little dizzy. He furrowed his brows and immediately thought of something. Yes, the ice-fire yin-yang well. As the poison Doloa's exclusive property, Dugabo had set up a powerful poison array near the ice-fire yin-yang well. It formed a layer of invisible and colorless toxic miasma that prevented soul beasts and other soul masters from entering this precious place, where he cultivated. With the poison Doloa's ability to instantly wipe out everything within a kilometer of him, even poison-type soul beasts with over 1,000 years of cultivation would quickly die if they came into contact with the miasma within his poison array. There was no way for them to pass through, let alone normal soul masters with weaker physical constitutions. Of course, Wang Kai wasn't an ordinary soul master. Even compared to those poison-type soul beasts, Wang Kai's resistance to poison was more than 100 times stronger with his Emperor Shura martial soul. The poison that could kill a 1,000-year soul beast only made Wang Kai feel a little dizzy. Emperor Shura, possess. Wang Kai circulated his soul power slightly when he sensed the poisonous miasma around him. Shura's scales completely covered his body, and layers of red and black Shura's raging flames ignited on the surface of his body. Compared to his human form, Wang Kai's resistance to poison was much higher after he used Emperor Shura's possession. Wang Kai immediately felt the poison invading his body being dispersed and eliminated by Shura's murderous aura. His mind also quickly regained its clarity. Wang Kai continued to run forward. In less than half a minute, he had already reached the end of the mountain path. The steam that he had seen earlier was surging out from here. At this moment, the poison array and the miasma in the air had already disappeared. After removing Emperor Shura's possession, Wang Kai looked down through the hot and humid fog. There was an inverted cone-shaped depression in front of him. Wang Kai was standing on the mountain peak at the edge of this depression. Yes, this is the place. Although Wang Kai couldn't see the true appearance of the ice-fire yin-yang well through the fog, he could smell the sulfuric smell in the air. He could sense the extremely dense soul power aura in the air. If the ice-fire yin-yang well wasn't at the bottom of this valley, where else could it be? Due to the fog in the night, the valley in front of him was pitch black and bottomless. However, Wang Kai had the gravitational domain, so he naturally wasn't afraid of this. Wang Kai came to the edge of the cliff. He circulated his soul power slightly, and the gravitational domain enveloped his body once more. After that, he took a step forward and jumped down lightly. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared into the white fog. Under the effect of the gravity domain, 90% of the gravity that Wang Kai felt was offset, and his body slowly descended to the bottom of the valley. 10 seconds later, Wang Kai successfully landed at the bottom of the valley. At this moment, the temperature and humidity in the air had increased by a large margin. The soul power in the environment was close to the standard density of 50. When he arrived at the bottom of the valley, Wang Kai hurriedly looked in the direction of the rising fog. In the center of the valley, about a few hundred meters away from him, there was a hot spring that was continuously emitting steam. The hot spring wasn't very big, but it was split into two parts. In the oval pool, the hot spring water was milky white, and the hot spring water was scarlet red. What was even stranger was that although these two hot springs were in the same pool, they were clearly separated. They didn't invade each other's space, and they were always on one side of the pool. The steam that was billowing into the air was generated from the space between the two hot springs. It continued to rise until it reached the entrance of the valley. This is great. Wang Kai was extremely excited as he looked at the hot spring in front of him. His body was even trembling slightly. The ice-fire Yin-Yang Well was one of the three great treasure basins. It was a unique spring that was blessed by the heavens. There were twins in one eye, and Yin and Yang countered each other. It was a treasure land that was hard to come by in tens of millions of years. It was a place where vast amounts of spiritual energy gathered, and where vast amounts of natural treasures grew. That's right, this was the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well that Wang Kai had yearned for a long time. It was also the place where Tang San would be able to become a god in the future. For a treasure land like the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well, the soul power here was extremely dense, and the climate was also very special. Although ordinary plants couldn't grow in such a special environment, it was a hotbed for many precious natural treasures. Apart from that, the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well wasn't like other places with dense soul power. Not only could it provide an excellent environment for many natural treasures to grow, but it could also shorten the time it took for them to mature. If a natural treasure were to grow here for 10 years, it would accumulate medicinal effects that would be stronger than if it were to grow in other places for 100 years. Furthermore, the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well wasn't just able to nurture plants. It also had a very special effect on the human body. If a normal person were to approach the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well, their bodies would be struck by the two extreme types of natural energies of heaven and earth, and they would quickly explode to death. However, if one's physical constitution was sufficiently powerful and could withstand the impact of the ice and fire energies near the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well, then it could be said that cultivating in the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well would yield twice the results for half the effort. If it weren't for the fact that the poisoned Ubo had taken over this place, and that the world's consciousness gathered in the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well was extremely powerful, Wang Kai would have been very willing to cultivate here for a while. With that in mind, Wang Kai strode toward the ice-fire Yin-Yang Well.